Hi everyone, this is the Thursday night forum, and it's great to have a few people in here watching with us. It's always good to have that interaction, and it's always good to what is it? What does we say, Stan? Misery loves company, right? So
It
a little bit
certainly
miserable
does.
today.
It certainly does. So thank you everyone for joining.
We'll try not to be too miserable. There's always two ways to look at things, and it might look pretty dark right now. Of course, out of all of our cup competitions, 3 weeks into the new year, that's not Arsenal, right? But I think we would recognize, Tony, maybe the squad needs some augmentation, needs some work.
Oh, I,
What do you think, Tony? You think we need to buy someone? You think we need bodies? What do you figure your volume out there? You're not coming in. You're not coming in loud and clear.
Is he on
Uh,
Pornhub when you have a screen? Who is he?
hello.
Tony, come on, join the show.
well,
Put
he
Pornhub
wouldn't
down.
have that auto centering thing if he did have that on his screen, Stan, because that would not be good for a live stream. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle Flight Crew. Bring your boarding card, hit the like button, people, and tell us where you're viewing from. We want to know. We want to know. We want to know. Helen, she may have gone to bed now. Are you sure you're doing it at 1:40 a.m. low? I think Arsenal were playing second fiddle to LFC all night. 2-0 was not the correct score. Should have been more, and Partey shouldn't have been at the match. I think Tavares was your best player. I didn't even play. Yeah. Listen, you got to hold your hands up sometimes, Stan, and say we were second best on the night. We had a couple of chances here and there that could have changed the course of the game, but hold your hands up. And, it's my birthday. This weekend is my birthday. It's actually on Sunday. So I definitely want 3 points from Burnley. But
You don't want 51 points?
Liverpool and Arsenal didn't give me what I wanted as a pre-birthday gift. So, Stan, what's your initial thoughts on the game? Just give us a brief synopsis before we get into it.
Well, it's been a couple of hours now since the game, and I'm still kind of pissed off about it. And I'm not pissed off because Arsenal couldn't beat Liverpool. We all know that in the scheme of things, they're at a different they're in a different place than we are. But I'm really pissed off that we didn't win this particular match because Liverpool been pissing me off lately with all of their shenanigans off of the pitch, wild accusations, the false positives and all of that sort of stuff. I just wanted us to put it up them today, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
really, really did. In my heart, I thought to myself it would be a challenge, but I thought to myself, if those players are pissed off about Liverpool as much as I am, if it's lit a fire under their asses, we might get something out of it. And I think that for the first 15 minutes of that game, I thought that my wish was going to come true because I felt that for the first 15 minutes, we were playing some good football.
Yeah.
And it reminded me a little bit of the previous game where they were on the back foot and didn't look like they knew how to handle us. And I mean, that first 15 minutes, I mean, Martinelli was every time he got the ball, he was trying to make things happen. But what I would say about something that I noticed with Martinelli, and it's not the first time that I've noticed it, when he gets out there on the wing and he starts to do his trickery with the ball, and he's usually sort of like backed up by about two, sometimes three of the opposition players. Why is it that none of our players, maybe one or two, why don't they ever go over to provide an outlet for him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing what he can. He's moving the ball from one foot to the other and trying to wriggle out. But there is never any one of our players that go over to provide an outlet so that he could get the ball to them, he could wriggle out, and perhaps they can provide a 1-2, and he's away. He's away with the ball because he's got the pace. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I am quite annoyed because, as I say, I just really wanted to put it up Liverpool because they really make my ball piss at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially again, the picture of Klopp cuddling up with Saka, and then making a big point about saying Martinelli. Remember that name? It's like, get your claws out, man. Just get your hooks out of our boys.
Yeah. I was quite enjoying the possibility of listen. The rivalry is going to develop. We're supposed to get better. That's the plan. We're supposed to go out and get signings this window and next window. And we're supposed to progressively get better. Hopefully, that rivalry can continue. We can get better, and we can reach the levels that Liverpool are at. I think it's fair to say, Jota was the big difference tonight. I want to welcome Gary before without further ado, welcome Gary.
Hello. Yeah, sorry about that, people. I was having PC problems all day, and I finally decided to reboot my laptop, and of course that fixes it. But
Imagine that, Gary.
I couldn't do it earlier today, so I kind of had to suffer through. Yeah, hello everyone in the chat. Hello, Ray, Stan, Tony. I heard.
Hey, Stan, is that some of your Nan stuff back on Gary's wall?
What?
I was asking Stan if that was some of his Nan stuff back hanging on your wall.
Why would his Nan stuff be anywhere in my vicinity?
I don't know, because you might have went and stole it.
What?
How do you?
You're not making any sense to me.
Further insight into Tony's mind. Remember,
nobody wants to go in there, Ray.
Look at that door behind Tony. There are people back there.
There are people in his house. Have you actually seen them?
Do you remember Sunday? You had a person screaming, not me.
True. Steve Adams coming to us from West Auckland.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, I was saying that I heard Stan when I was getting booted up here about Martinelli being the only one basically that looked like he was trying to actually do something positive for the team, and he doesn't have any help. I mean, in the beginning it was funny, right? You would see him come out, he would go at like 100 miles per hour. Everybody else is at 50, and you're like, okay, he's a little bit out of control. Which I don't think he's out of control. I just think he's playing football the way he knows.
Yeah.
You put pressure on the defense and you get something out of it. And when the whole team is doing that, like they did against City, it looks really good, right? We're pressing them the entire first half. Everything looks smooth. He fits in perfectly. Today, all of a sudden, not one other person wanted to be. Every time he got the ball and he goes down that side into that corner, they're all standing there watching him.
It's like they're mesmerized with his footwork as well.
They're just looking at him, and I'm like, dude, cut, get into the open space so we can give it to you. You can give it back, 1-2, and then we attack their goalkeeper. But he can't because he's got like 3 defenders around him, and we're standing there out of his view. He can't see them, and you're like, come on, can not one person see what's going on here?
As we say in Ireland, he's different class, Gary. He's different class to much of the rest of the team.
Think about, and then think about this in the future. Why would he want to stay?
Why
we can't get people to come. Why would you stay?
Well,
right?
The idea is we're going to grow, we're going to get better, but we don't see it right now. We're seeing flashes.
You got your rainbow-colored glasses on.
Listen, you can go one way or you go the other way, but you can't really stay in the middle.
I'm not in the middle. I don't think I like what I saw today, and I haven't liked it. I know what they're trying to do. It's not working.
Stan got a kick out of that one.
So do you know what you reminded me of there? You reminded me of one of my favorite lines in Goodfellas when they're looking at his mum's picture with the 2 dogs in the boat, and the guy goes, I like this picture. One dog goes one way and one dog goes the other. And the guy in the middle saying, what do you want from me? You just reminded me of that. That's why you took me.
Listen, brilliant. We got 11 people in here. Share the link in your socials. Bring more people in, and we need some Arsenal therapy. Let us know where you're coming from. Charlotte, North Carolina, BX Gunner, and Riddy is coming from the cold and foggy West Midlands with the air full of industrial smoke. Got a bit of a Peaky Blinders feel from that one.
Tony, fires going. And...
No headwear tonight, Tony.
I might put a hat on.
You're not rocking any leather tonight, Tony.
Steven said, I knew we were going to play like this, and the smug Liverpool fans going on like they've been a brilliant team. They must have forgotten 30 years of shit. They do my nut in. Chatting shite. Listen, let them have their moment in the sun. They're doing quite well for 5 years. I wanna start developing a hatred for Liverpool and not I'm not liking them as much as I do. I don't hate them as much as United. I don't hate them as much as Tottenham, but or Chelsea. Well, hopefully it grows. Hello everyone says hello everyone from Gary. Remember when I said last week we would have lost with 11 men at Anfield? Yeah, we'll get into that. So I think what we should do first is before we get into the game, I'll start with Tony. Let's grade this month so far because everybody said this month was a crucial month and it would tell us a lot about Arteta and the process. So we started off with City. I think a lot of us, maybe 95% of us, the fan base, are happy with that display. But then we go to the FA Cup, dumped out of the FA Cup, horrible, abysmal display, and then we got these 2 rounds, very different games with Liverpool, Tony.
Yep. Last week we were very well. Did very well. Probably one of the best team performances all year. Down 10 men for 3/4 of a match. And still hung right with them. Still had a couple chances to get a smash and grab. Would have been nice to have that, to have a goal coming into this one, but today just flat performance, wrong attacking mind, just wrong game plan from Arteta from the get-go. Partey should have never been in the lineup, let alone getting on the pitch, getting 2 yellow cards in 14 minutes. Just keeps on showing he doesn't have the right man management. That's 14 red cards under Arteta. First time since 89-90. We're not going to be any cup competition going into the end of January. So that's new. Another new record for Arteta there. But
Yeah.
for me, the window, we haven't done anything yet. We're looking at somebody with my surname from America as goalkeeper. I can promise you it's not me.
Yeah, his Twitter handle is head turner. I'd
Head
say
turner.
you're the only head turner there should be, right?
Yep. Or the head of the turners.
Ready. Xhaka done Arsenal a favor. We defended properly. The confusion starts when we attack.
But right now, I'd probably give us a C- or a D+ because we haven't done anything in the window. We haven't won any games. We haven't replenished the team, which we have to do if we want top 4. It's a slip away. We're already back to 6th. So
Yeah, and
we have to go out there. We have to get the players. We beat the teams we needed to beat. Now we need to reinforce and go play with the big boys.
No, he said, Gary, if we're taking your quote here, if you can't get people to come, why would they stay? It's a little bit like Field of Dreams, but in reverse.
We are definitely not building it.
If you destroy it,
They
leave.
ain't coming. They ain't coming. Oh man!
If you build it out of polystyrene, they won't come. You need bricks.
I had some comments and stuff Tony was talking about. If Partey is on the bench from now on, Arteta, he starts. I would rather him start that match than come in when basically the team was already gone through 70 minutes of that. And when he comes in at 70 minutes, everybody's pressing, everybody's doing a little bit too much. And it's exactly what we saw from him. He was going to be slow. You have to know this. He was going to be slow, right? He just came out of the plane, got his luggage, and then they drove him to the game. Basically, that's what it seemed like, right? I mean, I would rather him come in at halftime, at least to get into the flow of the game a little bit more. But to come in at that point in the game when he hadn't, for me, that's just poor. I know he got the first yellow he got was that was his first foul, and he got a yellow.
It wasn't even any contact on that one.
It was a first interaction with the official, and he gets a yellow. And Liverpool has how many? I mean, come on, nah.
So maybe he thought he was Xhaka.
The second one, it could have been a red anyway, so it didn't really matter at that point. I mean, he was so late on that one. steps on the foot. So whatever. I mean, but he can't. He if Xhaka can have a broken leg, have it amputated and put back on, and play as soon as the wounds heal, then Partey gets a shirt. He plays. It shouldn't even be that much of a decision to be made. If you're going to put him on the bench, then he plays. If he can't play at all, then you know what? Good. He's not going to get a shirt. But if he's going to be on your bench, he's got to play. Or else, what are we doing? Why? Even if you pull him after 30 minutes, it's probably better 30 minutes at the beginning of the game than at the end when you're chasing. I mean, think about a Partey with the way that we started in those first 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The things might have looked we might have looked even more threatening to them, right?
I suppose, guy, the issue is he turned up mid-morning at the club.
It doesn't matter. If he's going to get a shirt, he plays. How does Xhaka get a shirt and play? He doesn't ever sit on the bench. When's the last time Xhaka sat on the bench and watched? Anybody know?
Quite a bit this season, actually.
No, on the bench.
Not the benches behind the benches.
He's never sat on the bench and watched Arsenal start a game that I can recall. Okay, so boom, done. You're talking about 14 reds since Arteta's been here. It's been 3 reds in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
3 reds in 4 games.
2 Xhaka, 1 Partey.
3 reds in 4 games.
And Gabriel
Gabriel
got one as well recently, didn't he? He got a red. Gabriel.
Yeah, so that's probably like 3 and like
That's
6.
the one. That's the 3.
Or it's probably like 4. No, it's that's probably yeah.
Gabriel, Xhaka, and Partey. Sorry, Xhaka.
Xhaka got 2, didn't he?
Well, not in this season, but not in the last 4.
Right.
In the last 4 games, it's been it's been somebody different.
Since the New Year, it's like a New Year's resolution. Stan,
yeah,
you know?
And you know what's the worst? I mean, I was always fearful that we could lose 5 in a row if we had played the North London derby. We could lose to Burnley. We could go. We could go January, February with no wins. We only have like 3 or 4 more games left until March.
Right, we have 3 more games till March, and there's probably going to be a 4th game in there, which is the rescheduled Chelsea game.
And this is just if you can't get form after a week, what's going to happen after a 2-week break? I mean, I don't know what he's Arteta just overdone. He's like overcooks these things, right?
Pass control needed in the chat.
I don't know. I just it was a bad day, and it did not get better.
Oh look, a Spud really said. Usually in the springtime they start pushing up out of the soil, and then you got to pluck them. So they let them have their moment in the sun. But when they're in the sun too much, they go green. So there you go. Partey, listen, first of all, I got to give him huge credit for turning up and making himself available to play, getting on a flight. I know there wasn't much of a time adjustment, but there was a lot of travel overnight for Partey. So huge credit to him. On the other hand, you got to say, I don't know Gary, do you want to stay with this or should I go to Stan?
No, I mean, I think if Partey, I think
you got to give him some flack for making that challenge.
No, the last one was poor, definitely poor, and like I said, it could have been a red if the official was really, thinking about what he just saw. Right, we've seen that given as a red sometimes. So, the way that the cards were flowing our way was another indictment of how Arsenal is perceived in the league. Right.
Yeah.
How can just think about the City match? They had 12 fouls to our 2 or 3 or something like that, and we had a player thrown out.
we might get into some conversation about that. We'd have to say the word allegedly a lot, though, Stan, when we talk about that a little bit later.
Have an answer to your question, Gary.
Here's the thing, right? It's obvious to me that Mikel Arteta has never fucking played FIFA, because if a player comes to you, right, and Thomas Partey's done this twice when he's probably not been in the best shape to play the game, he's gone as a professional and said, "I'm good, boss. I can play." You know, I'm going to get the night flight back. I'll get changed into my kit in the back of the taxi when I get off the airplane. I'll be there. I'll play. And while that is commendable, you've got to sometimes have to save players from themselves and manage them. And the FIFA reference is, you know, like when a player comes to you in FIFA in the career mode and they say, "I've been feeling really good, boss, but I hope you're not going to bench me for the next game." And you get the choices of all of the things that you can say, right? He should just lie to Pie. I get him being on the bench because we've got low numbers and him taking him along to be a part of the team in a semi-final, but you should already have it in your head. There's no way I'm going to play you. And at the end of the match, when Thomas Partey says, "Why didn't you play me?" He just pick one of the choices. If we win the game, then you say, "Well, we didn't really need you, and I want to save it for more important games." So you stroke his ego. If we lose the game, you say, "Well, you know what? The game was lost, and there was no point in me bringing you on and letting you suffer in that as well." So it's easy. It's really easy. Do you know what I mean? To keep him on side, but there was no way that we should have drawn from that well today and risked playing Thomas Partey with him just coming out of a fucking being knocked out of a competition for his country, flying late, hardly any rest, trying to acclimatise, having no preparation at all, and this is what happens. Now we're without him. Now we're without him again, and we're just basically took a step forward, and we've gone back two steps, but. The problem for me is with this whole situation at the minute with Arsenal is we've chosen what's happening to us. We're going down this road of Project Youth. We need 3 or 4 players added to this team that have more experience. We go out and buy another 3 or 4 players around somewhere between the ages of 21 and 23. I think we're going to be more fucked because young players equal inconsistencies, and that's what we're seeing. We need some proper experience in there to help them through those times. But the question is, Mikel Arteta doesn't look like he knows how to handle experienced players because he seems to fall out with experienced players a lot of the time. You know, he's fallen out with Lacazette. He's fallen out a little bit with Aubameyang. Willian didn't work out. You know, Pepe's one of our experienced players. That's not really worked out. Ozil, he seems to have a problem with some of the bigger players and more experienced players. But that's where we are at the moment. I don't think that the top 4 is on the table. I didn't think it ever was on the table with what little that we have. But I'm not losing my shit too much because I want to see what happens when the clock strikes 12 and the transfer window shuts.
And Jim
because
White,
that's now when that happens, we will know what exactly we are left with. And if we are left with exactly what we have now, then we're not going to reach our goals, and that has to be laid at the door of the management because they knew that AFCON was coming up. They knew that they were going to have players that they wanted to ship out on loan. They knew they had deadwood that they wanted to clear out. It seems that the funds are in place. So now it's up to the manager and his team to do their bits of magic, to get on the phone, to sell the plan, and to entice players.
Gary's chomping at the bit.
No, I don't know if I wanted to. I don't know if Stan wanted to go back and forth, so I didn't know if I should wait or jump in there. As far as like when you talk about the experience, he brings in good. I think he brings in good experience, but then he overdoes it once again. Willian coming in to me made sense if it was to build up Pepe. It obviously wasn't. It was to put Pepe down a peg. Luis coming in to me made sense because we didn't have a second partner for Gabriel. That to me worked. I believe Gabriel is better for it, playing next to Luis. Can he play every game? No, but can he build up that back line and get them playing a certain way that Arteta wanted? I believe so because there was multiple times where we're like, wow, look at Luis out there making these long passes. I mean, if that's what Arteta wants, then he's getting it from Luis, right? I think letting him go was a poor choice because, like you said, Stan, we are missing experienced players who actually won trophies, experienced players who have been, solid on the back line, for example, like Luis. That would have been good to keep. Willian, I think they used him wrong, and then it tainted the entire relationship. and so they had to let him go. Uh, you talk, all I have written down here is saltine, and I and I think the reason why I have it written down here is because it's something we're like waiting for. You're waiting for the end of the window to come and then see how things are. But I have a feeling
Saltines,
I have a feeling you're going to
crackers.
get a saltine. Like if any of you know the Eddie Murphy joke about saltines. Anybody know it?
Nope.
Okay.
Hit
If
us.
if you've been essentially if your significant other holds back on you and essentially eventually does, as they say, give it up,
Feel like being
it could be the
thirsty, right?
worst thing that ever happened, but you think it's really good because it's the first time you've had it in like
Are you
weeks.
talking about regular crackers? That's it, isn't it? Same old regular crackers. God
Yeah.
damn, those crackers are good. Yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah. I'm
Um,
with you now. If you took
But
out the
anyways, what I'm
crackers,
saying
I'd be
is you
with
might
you.
you might get a saltine at the end of this window and think it's a good thing when in reality it's crap because it's not any better. It's not anything more than you wouldn't have gotten at the beginning of the window, right? That's the problem. We're working this hard to get Doosan. They better close it, right? It's a little too
yeah.
long for this to be in the
It's
news.
gone so far, you have to believe, and I don't want to get into transfers right now, but it's gone so far, you have to believe there's something at the end of that line. I don't personally like the chase
Yeah,
too
but
much.
now Juve's come in after him, so
Yeah, and I don't like us trying to chase players from Italy. Tony, I'm going to go to you next.
Don't put the chase in. You end up going home with the ugly bird when the lights come up in the club. So you got to put the chase in.
Yeah,
There's a
exactly.
there's a quantity versus quality conversation, right? What do you want?
Mad Muller, you asked a little bit earlier, how do you get on a podcast? Well, we are going to give a backstage pass toward the end of the
There's a
podcast.
serious vetting process.
Serious vetting. There'll be many, many questions. So, yes, if you want to avail of the backstage pass, stay here for another 90 minutes or so. We have to hit a 2 hour minimum, right, Tony? And
yep, it's in my contract.
come on in backstage and we will do the
Mad
vetting.
Muller, it's easier to get into MI6 than it is to get onto this panel.
Yeah.
You
Tony,
just assembled backstage, Stan.
Tony, Partey and Xhaka, and Stan and Gary had their words about Partey, and we'll stay with Partey a little bit more. Has Arteta basically emptied the midfield so that we have Xhaka, we have Partey, and we have Lokonga, who I think played under the circumstances. I think Lokonga played pretty well tonight, but I think it's unfair of us to ask Lokonga to run the show from midfield all by himself against that Liverpool team. But with Partey, what was your read on Partey? I mean, Gary saying playing from the start, but Arteta's thinking, and maybe overthinking this, we could get another goal. We could go into extra time. So he's saving substitution. He's got to think possibility of extra time may have clouded. And Gary's going to be chomping to get back in and stand in his butt. That's to you, Tony.
For me, Party should have been playing. You should have been focused on playing him this weekend. Now he can't play this weekend. To me, top four is always what mattered. This cup, yeah, it's good we're in it. Nice to be in the semifinals. Did great in the first leg. Just to me, only two players showed up today. One of them was Sambi. The other one was Martinelli. Everybody else was bang average or just not good enough at all.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I think Sambi can do that role. It's a little much asking him to do it now. It'd be better if the formation was suited for it. It'd be better being back deeper instead of more forward. It's too much work, especially against Liverpool. I think is the wrong time. I like the one holding midfielder, but not against Liverpool in this game.
Yeah. I'm not personally a fan of the single pivot myself.
I know, Ray. We've heard it 1,000 times.
The results bear it out. Unless you're playing in Newcastle or in Norwich, you're not going to get away with a single pivot in the
You
Premier
can't get
League.
Ray. You can't count it when Zaka plays as a single pivot. You have to just erase it from your memory.
Well, no, if he's there with someone, that's why I want a double pivot mostly. If we have a tank in there, we have a Yaya Toure I'll go single pivot every time, but we don't have a Yaya Toure.
So in a very important match, we decide to go with a formation that
We had a
weakens
Lucas
us.
Torreira that could have did the job. Probably still could do it half a season.
Yeah, yeah, and I think were you talking about subs and saving a sub by having Partey start? Is that what you were talking about?
So you were coming at, hey, let's start Partey. Maybe he lasts for 30 minutes, but then you're going to sub him out, but at least start with him.
That's not the plan. That's not the plan. Worst
What was
case scenario, you might have to pull him after 30, but I don't like the fact I don't if he's not ready to go, then I don't even want him on the bench. I want him back at the London Colney getting ready for Burnley. Personally, resting up like you should be anyways. You just traveled like you said. What's the point of bringing him to this game if you're not going to play him when he could just rest up and be available to you full strength, ready to go in the next available match, which is Burnley, right? So, for me, I would rather have done that. If you're going to play him, then he has to know what's going on, and he doesn't. He's not. For me, he's not Lacazette, right? In the sense that you can't just bring him on and knowing his weaknesses in that particular game and not having those be not punish him, right? I mean, Lacazette comes in and he does the best he can, but he doesn't typically put us in bad situations, right? We barely ever gets these
Mm.
yellows, much less a second yellow. We see him get some. He comes in
Right,
late
he
sometimes.
he
We don't.
he
Yeah,
was on a yellow card today,
yeah,
and he met another challenge on the left touch line in front of Arteta, and I feared he was going to get another yellow card,
yeah.
Lacazette. You know,
I
I
think
might.
in I think in general, the way this team was constructed for this game just didn't make any sense, and we paid for it. I mean, I think we
I have
weakened
to disagree with
ourselves.
you, Gary, because I just think that with what he had available,
Yeah, we went
let's
with
say
what we had available.
if we didn't, I get what you're saying about Partey, and I said that I wouldn't have played him either. I get having him on the bench. If we didn't take him to the match, his place would have just been filled with another academy kid who probably wouldn't have even got a look in anyway. So maybe by having him on the bench, you're sending out a message to Liverpool, thinking, are they going to use him? Are they not? To mess with them, but never use him. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
getting at? He was not prepared to play in that match, but having to have a 4-4-3, which is how we don't usually play. Having Sambi in the middle there with ESR and Odegaard either side, I don't know what else he could have done. I don't think that's what he would usually do. He's shoehorned in a lot of players there that have a lot of attacking flair, but there's nothing there for security other than a Sambi Lokonga. I just don't know what else he could have done. There's no El Neni to draw from. There's nobody. There's no Xhaka to draw from. I think his hand was forced. The only thing that I think during the game that may have been something to try was we all know that it gets to a stage where Lacazette is breathing heavily out of his arse and he can't go on any further. In that situation, maybe you take off Lacazette, you move Martinelli further through the middle, and you bring on Tavares where Martin in the space that Martinelli left. That might have been an option to have considered because if I'm a Liverpool player and I see Eddie and Nketiah warming up on the touchline,
Yeah,
I'm just going to start fucking pissing myself because we know,
that's
right?
you're
We
not
know
you're
that.
not you're not seriously worried about him when he comes off. Loki here, Loki. As long as you keep it respectful, I think most of the people in here will have some banter with you. Win this weekend, and your same spirits will kick right back. Pathetic. It's not pathetic being a supporter of a football team. It has ups and downs. You know, Gary.
no. I was just gonna say, well, couldn't
One
we
of
have
us
played?
wanted a roller coaster
Couldn't we have
ride.
played
There
three
you
or
go,
five at
Ray.
the back? If that's the case, then if 4-3-3 basically that kills our defensive presence, we have no coverage for the back line, then why not go three or five at the back and
Could have been
work
an
it that
option.
way,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
because so
Could have been an option.
because if if this if you're looking at it this way and you're like, well, I don't have a midfield. All right, well, maybe I'll put some more defenders on the pitch instead of like trying to find a midfielder that we don't have. I mean, Sambi is a backup to Partey, and Partey can do a job, but he's not the one we want doing a job either, right? I mean, he plays further back than Xhaka does, but I mean, those two together are, a lot better than a zombie being back there with nobody. So it's just, yeah, no, you have to play to the strengths of the team that you got, and I don't think we did that
There's
today.
there's
Right? It shouldn't
uh,
matter. It doesn't matter who you got. You got to play to their strengths, and if
well,
you're gonna put them in a situation that they're
so
not going to be able to have
Gary,
answers.
the
Right?
strengths play to the strengths of the team. Is that putting a team together no matter what the formation is? Because we played a single pivot in this game. Is that playing a single pivot? Was that playing to the strengths of the team?
No, because we didn't have, we had a player playing out of position, so you basically were playing
Which
down a
which
man.
player? Lakonga
Zombie,
or Erdegaard?
Zombie can't play that position. That's not what
Yeah,
he's done.
yeah.
I don't believe in
So
his past.
who would you have played alongside him, and who would you have sacrificed, or what would you have done
Like I
differently?
said, I think I probably would have more likely have gone with 3 or 5 at the back, and then
Yeah,
maybe brought
yeah.
Tavares in, if that's what you're gonna do. But if you're gonna play the way that we did, that first half has to look a lot more like the first 10 minutes of the game. And if you can't, if you feel like you feel eventually that your defense is going to break down, then maybe you switch things up to solidify the back end so that you at least don't give away goals, but you keep Martinelli on the pitch and allow him to go up and attack a little bit more on the counter, right? I mean, that's the only thing you had at that point. But
Yeah.
yeah, you got to do something. And like you said, if having Zombie in there weakens the defense, then I don't think that's a plus for us.
No,
Jota kills us
but
every game,
basically,
so you can't. I can't.
yeah,
He's not
Jota.
every game he scored on us, right?
Yeah, Jota has been the difference in these two legs in this
No, in
tie.
every game we've played, he scored. Maybe -1, maybe.
Yeah,
For the first time he came in, he scored after he came off the bench, and in the last 2 times he scored. I mean, what is it? He just scores on us, and we have no answer for it, right? For him,
he's
anyways.
he's a good acquisition for them. Good pickup. Without Salah, without Mane, he's actually bringing them through their season as best as possible. Along with Fabinho, I thought Fabinho was very, very good for them. But that's the team that we are trying to emulate. Um, Man
Oh,
City are way ahead. So Liverpool, you saw Liverpool excited to beat us. Chelsea excited to beat us because this is the one shot as a trophy for them, both of those teams this season. As Steven said, we have better players out on loan. Everyone is going on about Bruno's stats in France. Players whose second in stats is Guendouzi. While that Ainsley Maitland-Niles go and Torreira is doing well. So we've got midfielders spread across Europe here, and we're suffering. Loki, stop blowing
that's
smoke.
that just doesn't make any sense. You know what? That means Arteta can't coach them. That has nothing to do with the player. We keep talking about the
We
player.
we
He
got we
doesn't
got
know how to
midfielders.
utilize them. I
We got
mean,
midfielders in Italy. We got midfielders in France. Yeah,
We got
it's
them
really,
everywhere, right?
you really think
we
about it.
spent 50 million on a center back, and we've got one of the top center backs in France playing right now.
Mhm.
And people are wondering whether or not he should come back, or whether or not they should, will he come back? I can't. If we're at that situation, that's really
That's how
it's not.
that's how
It's not even a good. That's not even that. The fact that he could not come back is just really, really just bad for
yeah.
me.
Tony.
To answer Gary's question, November 8th, 2020, 3-0 loss to Liverpool was the last time Zaka started off the bench.
Okay. You did specifically
He's
ask
found
that
one
question.
time out of how many years he's been with the squad?
Too
I
many.
mean, it's probably,
5
but
and 0, 6.
It's
5.
almost Stan. It's almost as if Arteta has weakened our midfield so much to make Granit Xhaka look good in our midfield.
he won't. He won't. They said that they won't go out and get a midfielder because they've got Partey and Xhaka,
Yeah,
and basically expecting Zombie made sense, but they didn't get a replacement for Xhaka or an enhancement. El Neni is not an improvement. You
I
know,
don't. I
you know
think
not.
if
what?
we sign Arthur, I don't think that's much of an improvement either.
I trust El Neni. He's not an improvement, but I trust him
But
more
we
than I
need
thought.
better than that. We need better than Xhaka, and we won't even do that.
The thing is, when in order to
Isn't
have a
El Nini better than Zaka though? I think he is.
What's the thing? Yeah, I think he is. What's the thing, Stan?
in order to have a successful season, it's a squad game. It's not just built around the first 11. You register about 25 players. The
Yeah,
problem with us is from that 25, you should know what your first 11 is that you're going to play most of the time in your big games. From our first 11, we don't even have that. We've got a first nine, as far as I can see. We have a first nine. So we
yeah,
haven't even got the 11. And then after that, there's nothing anyway. We really are like scraping the fucking barrel here. So,
yeah.
and I don't blame the board because it seems to me that the funds are available. It seems that
So
we're having
Hmm.
problems getting players to come. I know we're going to touch on the transfers, but this thing with Vlahovic, I found out that we've been trying to get this done since October.
Hmm.
We've been in these kind of chats with him. And Mikel Arteta did say that if we have to sort of like convince a player to come, he'd have concerns. Well, I mean, he's not trying to convince the guy. He's dropped his trousers, bent over, and pulled his cheeks apart, as far as I'm concerned, to get Vlahovic in. I mean, it seems how many players do we? Let's just give them the whole of our team to get Vlahovic. I mean, it's ridiculous. And someone
No.
said earlier that when I was on the Burkamp Wonderland that Fiorentina was bailed out of some money problems for 160 million. And someone in the chat bot said, we should just buy Fiorentina.
I saw that. I
Just
saw that.
go all out and buy them, right? And then we can just take some of their players, you know what I mean, and do what we want. But it's
Dix.
and they're in the same situation as we are, right? They got players like Dusan does not. He wants to see out the rest of his contract and walk away for free. And Florentina's doing what they're supposed to do, right? When they know that's going to happen, they've got their backup already in or their
Well,
replacement already in that may or may not work out, and they need to sell him.
yeah.
All
I
right,
think he's
they
got
need to sell
18.
him. I mean, I thought I saw something that where they might threaten him to sit on the bench. While meanwhile they figure out if they have the striker that they need,
I
right?
think he's got 18 months left. So,
But
yeah.
he wants to see it out, and yeah, and this is the problem, letting it get down to under 2 years, right? We always talk about when it gets to 2 years, you should either be keeping that player or selling that player. We've
yeah.
done it how many times now?
When a player's got 18 months left on a contract, you've got to make a decision. Otherwise, you end up
Yeah.
losing your dough, you know.
When you first start pressing the panic button.
And yet again, you know, with Said Kolasinac leaving, this trend of just the most overworked piece of machinery in Arsenal is their fucking shredder for shredding up people's contracts. I mean, they're like, "Oh, you want to leave? Give us your contract.
Yeah.
See you later. Don't forget to shut the door on your way out." What's going on here? We're not
It's
getting
kind of
anything back.
refreshing to see,
It's
though.
become like a fashion. It's a fashion for us now at Arsenal. It's almost like,
Well,
well, you
I
let him
Six
go. Why
times in
can't you let
2
me go?
seasons. It's crazy.
we're not letting you go, Stan. We can't shred your contract or Gary's or Tony's.
You know,
No.
it sounded like a good idea at the beginning, but then they think that's the actual norm. It is not a norm. Ozil should have been should have been in a what they call
Alarm.
it.
A one-off,
Wake up call.
special case.
Yeah. At that
Right?
point, you realize, you know what, we cannot do this again. And how many times have we done it now? Like
About
4 or
It's
5
becoming
times
a
since, right?
precedent.
I've lost count.
You know, and you know, if players know that that's the case, why would
That's
anybody?
6 contracts we bought now in 2
Why would
years. Gary.
Saka? Why would Emil? Or maybe Emil Smith Rowe really loves Arsenal, and so he's not going anywhere. Maybe Xhaka, and that's the only reason why they would probably stay because they love Arsenal.
Hmm.
But Gabriel has no allegiance to Arsenal, right? He doesn't have to stay, and
I,
he probably is the better of those 3 young players.
he wouldn't have any deep-seated allegiance, but once you start playing for a club, you start to like your surroundings
But
and
there's
you have an affinity for the club. I believe. Gabriel. You talking about Gabriel or Gabriel Martinelli?
Martinelli. Sorry, Martinelli. Yeah.
Your favorite
Even Gabriel.
Not mega legs.
I mean, Megalez as
player?
well. I mean, you know, it's not even. It's partly it could be the agent in their ear,
Me,
but also it could be. You know what? I don't. This club is just going downhill, and I don't want to go down with it. right?
But is this club going downhill? I mean, we've halted. The progress has slowed up in this month from January 1st. That great game against City. We've slowed up. We're out of we're out of two cups now. Just the league to concentrate on. Just that trophy, the top four trophy. Let's go for it.
No, see, and that right there is that right there, that mindset, the fact that you actually said it, one, you're probably trying to wind me up,
A
or
little
you
bit.
actually believe it. Because if you believe it, then that's the
Listen,
problem.
there's no way the players can be given the rest of the season off. They have to try to
No,
get
no,
the
no, I get
goal.
that, but like the mindset that top four is anything other than a top four place, that's it. We did not succeed in our goal, which our goal was to win the league, right? We came up
Correct.
short. We came up
Guess
short.
what? Liverpool
We'll take
Win the
top
league.
four.
Liverpool aren't going to win the league. Chelsea aren't going to win the league. That's
You
how
th-
difficult it is.
So wait, but you're playing. You if you don't try to win it, then of course you. If you don't try to win it, then you're not going to win it. Let's just say that.
Of
First you
course.
say it, then you do it. So that's what I believe. So if you're thinking, you know what, we're just going to go top four, we don't really care about winning the league. Guess what? You're going to get exactly that. And whoever achieves their top goal, a goal like that, like you said, only one team does. But you never know when it's your time,
Hmm.
right? So you can't take a season off, a game off, a minute off, because you never know.
I agree. Let me get through a couple of comments here. BX Gunner said, if we had any chance of beating Liverpool this year, it was these two games. We've blown this window. There's still 10 days left. And I think, as Stan said, a lot of things are percolating toward the end of the window. I think things will happen. Other clubs have to get players in. So
I
until they
laughed the other day when I really, when someone told me that Chelsea have got about 21, 22 players out on loan. I was laughing, and then I found out today that we've got 21 players out on loan.
we could field a team, Stan, a pretty good team of lone players.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
our players are like perpetually on loan. We never bring them back. Guendouzi, Carrera, those players are gone.
We've got
Tony,
players on loan that have never ever put on the shirt in a Premier League match. Who's
there's
got
some
that?
homework for you,
At least-
Tony. Does anyone know how many shots on target in the Premiership this season from Arsenal? Lacazette's probably had 6 by him all season. I know that's been reported pretty much. 7 in the back for a chance in the top 10. Loki's making some waves tonight, but I think he's doing it respectfully. We should have played on the counter attack. We're playing at home. Stan, 1 shot on goal, 1 shot on target tonight.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Not good enough.
There were times. There's been times this season, and even last season, and the season before that, where we look like the away team playing at home. It's not good enough, Okay, we went out to Liverpool, but we couldn't even muster up a goal. We couldn't even muster something up. Did you know what I mean? That's what worries
Saka
me.
had a tame shot. He had that one tame shot in the first leg.
And that goal that they scored, I couldn't believe. I mean, Jota done a lot of work to wriggle and get himself into position, but the shot that he hit, it was like a p-roller. It just trundled towards the goal and then just rolled over the line. And it was almost like my TV was in slow motion. I don't know how Ramsey didn't get to that. I mean, did it take a deflection? I was looking at the
well,
replay. I
he
couldn't
kicked it
tell.
through like 3 defenders. It looked
Completely.
like. So I think, and if you watched it, like they show the replay, and Ramsdale is leaning to the left, and the shot looked like it was going to go far left, and then, like you said, it squeezed through the defenders, and then just rolled really slowly to the right, and he was just off. And
Completely hit the outside of the ball like you're playing snooker. A little bit of side on it. He just completely hit it. Ramsdale gambles a little bit in that instance, and the ball obviously goes through Ben White's legs, Gary, and trundles into the net. Slow
it was
motion.
definitely not a planned. That was not what he was planning to do.
No.
It looked like he even miskicked it or something.
Yeah.
That's it.
I thought it might have taken a deflection because there was nothing on it at all. It just rolled towards the goal. Strolled
like-
along.
That's like when you watch like Zidane kick his his penalty kicks, and you see him get up there, and you're like, oh, he's gonna just smash this thing through the back of the goal, and it just like floats. And the goalkeeper, all he can do is just look at it, and you're like,
So,
"What the world? How does this guy do that?" You know, and that's man.
so Gary, I portion blame for you show me a goal, I'll show you somebody who made a mistake.
That happened early in that whole sequence, right? We lose the ball, and then we kind of create their counterattack for them. We mishandle the ball in the back, and that's what you get. You know, and Jota coming at us is just really bad news, right? Really, really bad news, and we couldn't even get to him to bring him down before he gets into the box. That's how bad the whole thing worked out. I mean, it worked perfectly for Liverpool. I mean, it was almost like we're playing decent the first away. You know, the first time we played them at Anfield, and they get a free kick and they get a goal out of it, and you're like, what? We did all this. We did all of this.
Yeah.
We get to this point, and boom, this is how they score, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happened once again. We look like we're on the front foot. We are putting pressure on their back line. They're getting nothing, and all of a sudden, boom, we make a mistake. They pounce on it, and then somehow they get a goal out of it. I mean,
three mistakes in one. So Tomiyasu's out of position. I still believe the surface was a little bit slippery. Some of our players are slipping.
We get caught on that counter a lot, don't we? The ball pops out.
Ray,
We
don't
don't have enough
Greasy
people
pits.
back. Usually it's Xhaka who's
No,
getting
no.
caught in the foot race.
So, were we playing at home or were we playing at their place? Because if we're playing in Anfield today, right? So this wasn't Emirates.
We're playing at the Arsenal pitch, Gary.
We can't blame the
greasy.
pitch when we were playing at home. Come on.
No, I'm not blaming the pitch, Gary.
You've mentioned it 5 times today, right? What are you
No, I
talking
haven't,
about?
Tony. I've mentioned it once.
Did we get the weather report? Because I didn't. Ray, what
No,
was the weather
listen.
report today?
Yeah,
I think there's such a thing as studs. There's such a
the
thing
players
as
chose the
studs
wrong
in their
studs.
boots.
They chose the wrong studs today.
They were playing with the wrong studs. So
They should have went
Tomiyasu
with
was
molded
doubling.
instead of screw-ins. That's the thing. Should have went with
Yeah.
molded.
Stan, there's 3 things that happened there. Tomiyasu stumbling. He gets the wrong side of Jota. Ben
Yeah.
White goes underneath Ben White's legs, and Ramsdale gambles a little bit to his left.
Tomiyasu didn't have a good day at the office today.
It's
You know,
very, very mixed game.
What was he coming back from? Was he coming back from an injury or was he coming back from the big V?
Big
I
V.
believe.
See, that's the thing. Even though you know that okay, you no longer have the big V, you can walk around. You don't know how you still feel a bit drained, you know, or because you're no longer sniveling and you're not bedridden. It doesn't mean that you can put in 90 minutes of that high intense kind of energy. So I think that you have to take some of that into account because he just wasn't at it today. He was misplacing some passes. He was caught out of position a lot. I remember at one point I was looking at him and I was like, why are you in the centre of midfield? What are you doing there? If anything goes wrong on that right-hand side, you're nowhere, mate. You're fucking playing in the midfield. You know, get out of there. He just had a bad day and it's going to happen. He's been good up to now. But I do think that when some of these players come back from the big V, it still takes them a while to get back to feeling 100%, even though they can go and get the shopping, walk around, play with the kids and all that, take the dog for a walk.
And think about it. That's why Tierney was able to actually come back the way he did, right? It's because Tavares was actually playing decent and there was no reason to rush Tierney. We don't have a right back that we can fill in. So Tomiyasu's healthy, he's back in.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the depth is always a problem. And that's for us, like you said, we have 25 players, but we only got 9. I mean, we only got 9.
Cedric and Chambers both being injured as well probably forced his hand to have to play Tomiyasu. I mean, nobody wants to see Cedric, don't get me wrong. We don't want to see that. But, I mean, if Tomiyasu's not fit, maybe Chambers would have had a shout. Maybe Chambers would have even played in the middle of the park today had he been fit. Who knows?
And you know what? They don't even play that much. Chambers, Holding, they don't play that much. And we can't even get them on the pitch where we need them. How in the world is that? How is that possible?
Someone else said that earlier, Gary. They were like, we're talking about these players, and then when there is a space for them to play, they're fucking injured or something. It's not because they're injured in the game. They didn't play in the last game. So it's falling over in training. Again, they should
I've
be
seen
using
them practice.
training.
I've seen them practice. How are they falling over?
Wrong studs. You're using the wrong studs again.
I'm going to regret saying that. I'm like, went out of both cups, tails between legs, gutless displays. Yeah, put Forest together with this Liverpool one. Tony might as well drink Four Loco. Curveball shot. Yeah. I guess we didn't do much then, Tony, but Lacazette had a opportunity very early in the second half. I believe this was the turning point. Lacazette puts this away. We're back in the game. Who knows what happens? Even though it was a little bit helter-skelter at the time, early part of the second half. Gordon has a shot over the bar, misses. Kanate has a header off the upright, but Lacazette is put through in the 48th minute. Fluffs his lines, Tony.
Yeah, he should have scored it. He's been playing deep, not been playing striker. So,
No excuses, Tony.
yeah, you have to make excuses for him sometimes.
He's 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. At least get it on frame.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're asking. There's this box. Try to get it inside the box. I mean, it's not moving. It doesn't move.
Roll onion bag. Hey, Gail, thanks for joining us.
The box never moves. Just get it in the box.
It's all well and good, people saying how much he's doing, by coming deep and all of that. Okay, that's lovely. But when he gets into the situation and he might only get one or two of those opportunities in a game, like he did today, you got to tuck him away, mate. That's your bread and butter. He's a striker, and I don't want an Emil Heskey as my number 9. I don't want to have a number 9 who doesn't score goals, And maybe that's why someone like Vlahovic can do that, because if he's going to get one situation in the game and is in the same position that Lacazette's in, he's not going to lean back like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and put the ball into orbit. He's going to come over the ball, he's going to use the right technique, and he's going to take out one chance and he's going to put it away. And that's what we're missing.
Loki said Tommy is actually better than I thought. Yeah, you were going to get Tommy and we were going to Emerson Royal. Oh, yeah. Remember that. We're happy that we got Tommy Essa and you got Emerson Royal. But yeah, that's the situation. Stan, he's got to put that away. Strikers.
Well, at least get it on target, right? At least get it on target and make the goalkeeper do something. Then you can say, okay, fair enough.
Goalkeeper who's cultivating a junior Klopp beard.
Yeah. I've gotten tired of saying sting the goalkeeper's hands because we're nowhere even close to stinging the goal. I mean, the goalkeepers are just like, that's what they do when we take shots. Most of them just don't even come close.
Surely you're thinking, if you're the coach and you're looking at their lineup and you see that they've got this young kid in there in goal, you'd be like, okay, just keep taking shots, pepper the goal. Even if you're outside of the box, make him work. He's a young kid. He's not going to be as good as Alisson. Maybe that's one of the ways that you do something like that. You pepper the goal. But
we actually made him look comfortable today. Martinelli's, I think, is the only one who had the shot on target from a tight angle late in the second half.
And I also like the way Martinelli bumped into him to make him know that he was there when he done that little barge. I like that. And that's very clever for Martinelli, for such a young player, to do something like that.
I love his enthusiasm. I like everyone saying in the comment section, we have to match his ambition, his enthusiasm.
You know what? He looks no different than Aubameyang out there. We've got a player out there, and everybody else is not actually playing to their strengths. He's gonna put pressure on that back line. Guess what he needs? Targets. He needs moving targets.
Yeah.
He's got stationary targets. He can't find them. You got to move towards him, and you're just wasting. That's why he kills himself, because if we're scoring more goals, he's less likely to have to go and do that over and over again, because the other team will have to slow us down a bit. But he's out there by himself.
Mr. Tom says, speaking of teams that have 100% league record in 2022, we're very happy that you do, because you beat West Ham for us. How about that Leeds team, eh? Hello, everyone.
What did it? I picked.
Gary made some points on them last week.
I picked them to win that last game.
The upset challenge. And you know what, Gary? You know what? You took the lead.
Oh, did I? Wow.
You took the lead.
I've been getting good on the last couple of
decent
picks.
Amount. See, it's not fixed. You always say it's fixed when I'm in the lead.
Yeah, but you're not like 20 points behind me, so there's always that 20 point that you're going to get when we're not looking.
You're just a bit salty about how
Yep,
the
I
end of
am.
the season ended
I am. Yep.
last year. I pulled a few
You,
rabbits.
yeah,
out
you
of the
definitely
hat.
pulled something.
Pulled a few rabbits out of the hat. Anyway, moving on. What else? The goal, the killer goal, Gary.
Mm.
Minamino comes on, Gordon goes off, so they smell blood in
That
the
was
water.
a problem for me because is it Gordon almost scored? He should have scored. It should have been over anyways.
Yeah, that's the
I mean, he's
Gordon
right in
miss
front of
with
the goal,
51 minutes.
and you got to pick a corner, and then
That's not a problem if he misses.
it wasn't a problem. But the fact that they brought Minamino on meant that now they were even a better player in his spot.
Yeah. Klopp is smelling blood in the water, Gary.
Reddy's calling you out, Ray.
Reddy's calling me out.
Yep.
Okay, what did I do now, Reddy?
You stopped the Kahoot quizzes.
Yeah, what happened to our Kahoot? We're going to do them on Sundays. We're going to do them on Sundays. A little bit of oversaturation, so we're going to make you maybe make you
I won
savor
the last one. We can stop, Ray.
favorite of if you bet against Leeds, you'll be a poor man, but if you bet on Leeds, you'll be rich overnight.
Mr. Tom, how are you?
Yes, Mr. Tom.
Semble, we better get a question in from the Semble. Stan, actually, the Semble asked a question before this. Is
I
this
saw
the
that.
worst? Is this where do you rank this team in terms of
I saw that. Good question.
difficult to rank different generations?
I tell you what I do like about this team is that I think that we're getting a back four and a goalkeeper that in time could be as secure as our famous back four of Winterburn, Dixon, Keown and Adams. And by bringing back William Saliba, you have that third centre back that, we always had Bold as well that would hang around as well. So if Adams or Keown weren't on par or were injured, we had another centre back that could slip in. David Seaman, safe pair of hands. Seems like Aaron Ramsdale, it could be the same. So I'm really pleased that we've finally addressed that because you've had problems there. However, the midfield is not up to scratch at all. It's probably one of the worst midfields that I've seen in a long time. And even though Thomas Partey came with us with a big reputation, he's not really set the world alight yet. Just before he left for AFCON, he had a good game. Probably the best game that he's had in an Arsenal shirt. And I was really hoping that he'd have a good tournament and come back and hit the ground running. But he's been mismanaged again. Now he's going to be out. We're only going to be playing 2 games in February, so there's plenty of time for preparation. But this team, compared to the forward line as well, is lacking.
There's been a lot of Arsenal teams, 89, 91.
We've got a team that has a back line that could shine, and at the moment, that's about it. They're our saving grace, and I think that they've been helping us a lot. Martin Odegaard is a great addition, and I think Martin Odegaard could go on to be, as the way that some people talk about Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard could go on and be that influential for us as well. I think he's got all of the tools to be that good.
Who's the best person to answer this question from Gail? Who wants to volunteer? It's like a jury system. Do you have a prejudice against Xhaka? If you don't, you can answer.
We should all answer this question, but Tony goes first.
Reliable by what? Screwing up, getting yellow cards, red cards. Is that where?
Or the most least reliable? Well, how do you put that? How do you know? You know what I'm trying to say.
You know what he's
the best worst player. Who's the best worst player in midfield, Tony?
You're gonna get mistakes. He's pretty consistent at that.
He's
reliable. Tony turns a negative into a positive. I like it.
He's reliable in terms of he can make himself fit, just like that, and he's ready for a game. He's reliable that way. Is he reliable on the field in key situations where you have to make a split-second decision?
How many witch doctors do you think Xhaka employs to get him fit for those matches? I see them all like chatting around him, smoke going on.
Gary,
Yeah.
I see you thinking about this. Who's the
I
most
really.
reliable? Who's the most reliable midfielder? Leave El Neni
Zombie.
out. Lakonga,
That doesn't. You know
Partey,
what? You
Xhaka.
just
Zombie.
took off the only answer that makes any sense
Which
to
one?
the
El Neni?
question. Yes, he's the most reliable. Is he anywhere where we need him? Where we want our midfielders to be? No, but he's the most reliable because you know what you're going to get. He's not going to help you much going forward. He's kind of solid defensively, right? Not the best. He will get caught out, but it doesn't seem to hurt us as much. But going forward a lot of times where he kind of hurts me sometimes because he puts himself in good positions, and if he just would make that step forward, make that pass sooner, we'd be able to take advantage of all the preparation that he does to get his foot on the ball and get into certain situations, but he never does. So we basically get punished by it because the other team gets the ball back because it's a bad pass. It gets intercepted and then we're in trouble. Xhaka reliable. I don't know. I I was on a couple of shows today and like when you bring up Xhaka, it definitely causes stress on the show. The panelists really basically start going after each other, and it doesn't matter what it doesn't
Didn't
matter.
I say this on the last podcast? He probably stresses relationships because you're watching Xhaka play the game and you're pissed off, and you go to your partner and you're pissed off, and then there's just like a snowball effect.
Yeah, no, I don't know what these managers see in him when they watch the games because I get everything before the game starts, before the whistle blows, but in the game, what does he do where you go, good. That could have been a goal, and he saved us from getting that goal. When's the last time you've seen that? I don't see it enough.
No,
And you know how many times I see him running in late into the box, and I'm like, he's like Holding. He's just there. He's always got a front row seat to the accident, man. He always sees it. Sometimes he starts it, and you're like, just run back to the box. Get into the box as fast as you can. And he's jogging back, and he gets there just in time to watch the goal go in. And I'm like, come on. Not every time does that happen. He does it every time, So it's going to, he's going to punish another manager, and that's what's going on right now. They have not decided they want to find a replacement for him. El Neni's not the answer, and they don't want to do better than him, which doesn't make any sense. They did. They fixed the back line. Do you see how bad? Look what they've done with that back five.
yeah,
They have done nothing close to that in the midfield.
I know.
Not even
I know.
close. Partey has been a total. It has not worked out. But okay, that's one player. There's 3-4 other spots in that midfield that they could have replaced, and they did not. I mean, maybe two, right? Well, no, you got to have at least 4 players in that midfield spot, right? There's 3 spots, and none of them are better than what Partey gives you on a good day, or even close to him, right? And Partey needs to have somebody who's at his level, or else you're just weakening him anyways, right? It's like having a center back pairing where you've got White or you've got Gabriel and you've got Holding, right? When you got Holding next to Gabriel, is that strong? No, because they're at 2 different levels in terms of what they give you on a good day.
Yeah.
And that's what you got with Partey. He at his top, we have nothing even close to comparable to him when he's sitting there playing, and you're like, damn, if we had somebody who could actually play with him, this would look so much better, right? Basuma always comes up as the answer, and it's like, well, if that's the answer, then just go get him. I mean, just go get him.
It's like Arsenal used to be known for their soft center. Now in the actual team, Arsenal has a soft center in midfield.
We have no center.
In midfield, it's like when your back gives out and you got no support in your 6-pack, 12-pack, whatever it is. Although it's more Arsenal fan rectangle. Well, I thought we could do maybe we probably don't want to do this, but we could do a coordinated circle. Then Stan. No.
Ray, we are not on your level, man. You are at a different level than us.
You just have to go opposite. Stan didn't. You weren't going to continue that, were you, Stan? No.
I didn't get it.
On my finger. Touch my finger, Stan. Touch my finger.
Oh, wait.
All right, let's do this.
Touch his finger,
Right,
right?
Stan.
There you go.
Only at the fan circle.
Go around to Tony. No, you got to go around
That
to
looks
Tony.
like a really weird version of the roof of the Sistine Chapel.
We were supposed to go all the way around the 4 tiles, though. Okay, we'll practice for next time. Tony's got it. Anyway, I digress. Listen, I'm going to ask you a tough question of all of you. I'll start with Stan. I'm going to ask you to call out the worst player tonight. Who was the worst Arsenal player tonight?
I think the worst Arsenal player tonight might have been Emil Smith Rowe. It just didn't look like he was on it today. Saka, as well, had a very bad evening, as did Sambi Lokonga.
Yeah.
Had quite a bad night, to be fair. And it's going to happen when you've got kids of that age. They're going to have bad nights. It's just unlucky when they all have a bad night on the same night, and their friends can't carry them through the game. So, but I mean, you asked a question earlier that I didn't get to answer about Jacobin. Is he the most reliable? My answer to it is that, one of my best friends who lives in the UK, his name is Reliable Dave. Reliable Dave is probably one of the most unreliable people you'll ever come across. He means well, and I'll just give you one example. When I first moved to Amsterdam, I had he goes, when you move into your flat, I've got an old video VHS machine that I don't use, right? That's about 18 years ago when people still use them. You can have that for a while. And he brought it round, but there was no lead that went from the video machine to the TV, right? And I'm like, I forgot that. Do you know what? He must have come around my house maybe 5 times. Dave, did you bring that lead? Oh, yeah. I'll get it next time. Yeah. When he goes, yeah, it's never going to happen. I end up buying my own lead. Reliable Dave. Love him, but no, it's not. It's not happening.
Hence the nickname, right?
But is he but people say is he the best that we have? And to what Gary was saying about Thomas Partey, I would say that, there's the argument where it's like, well, who's he playing with? I mean, I look at a player like Virgil van Dijk, and it seems that whoever you put next to Virgil van Dijk, they play better. They seem better than they do when they're playing next to someone else. So I was hoping that Thomas Partey would be able to do that. I was hoping that Thomas Partey would be able to help mask maybe some of Bambi Lokonga's deficiencies and help him come up a couple of notches. But it seems that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems that we need someone else in there to hold Thomas Partey's hand, which doesn't seem right to me for the amount of money that we paid for him.
Yeah.
You know, we got about 90 minutes of the Thomas Partey that's worth 50 million.
Yeah.
This season
against City.
One match.
Well, no, 45 minutes against City, and the second half, and I think against didn't he play in the Liverpool match?
Yeah.
Right, he played in the Liverpool match too, right? The 0-0 draw. He didn't play in that one?
No, I didn't play in that one.
Oh, so we got about 60 minutes. I'm not, because part of that second half of the City game.
He scored a goal against Aston Villa, so that's worth a couple of seconds.
No. You know what? Him scoring goals is not why we're gonna. That's not the Partey that we want. Even though it's supposedly he can score goals, right?
Do you know how many footballs are debris around the Earth's atmosphere with all bits of satellites that NASA have left? All those balls of Thomas Partey's.
And they're all swirling around.
What did Assemble ask me, or was that a question?
All right, DWTT, don't worry. Well, I feel like we neglected the Assemble anyway. About how Arsenal are playing. Buy one of those new shiny training tops. That decision is a marketing masterclass.
Who knew that? You know what?
You want one of them underground?
Don't worry about how this Liverpool match will end. But did you see the new warm-up kits that they had?
Yeah. My wife sent me a picture of it. Like, you want this for your birthday? No, I don't think so. Try again. Partey has been disappointing. Okay, so I think Saka had a poor game. Tony, Who had a poor game for you, Tony?
Everybody except for Sambi and Martinelli.
Yeah, I thought Saka had a tough game, Gary.
Yeah, no,
Robertson got on
I
top of him, and he didn't have any answers.
yeah, no, I think it could have gone to anybody but Martinelli. I mean, hard to say the back line, but I mean they gave up 2 goals, so
They
I
were
think our
poor.
two best players on the night were Martinelli and Odegaard. I thought Odegaard did
yeah,
have a good game, but he wasn't playing in the position that we would like him to play in. But I thought he had a good game.
yeah. I rather stick to the Martinelli and having a really good game than who
Yeah,
had a bad game because I think
Yeah.
everybody you can pick your spots and everybody kind of everybody kind of struggled one way or another. Um, I mean, we got the way that they were able to score that second goal. Basically, that's is that on the center backs, right?
well,
I mean, he kind of split the center
so
backs and
Gary, the second goal was probably what could have happened last week when Xhaka was sent off. We didn't have anyone to kick at Jother. We didn't have any karate kickers on the field in today's game, but it was kind of a carbon copy of what happened last week.
yeah. The difference was that one. What did it do? That
It
one.
ended in a goal.
Yeah.
No WWE
No,
drop kicks.
it
this
didn't
week.
end in a goal. They got the goal later. They didn't get the goal on that play. Right? It wasn't in the box. Right? It was outside the box. They didn't score. They
Today's
scored
second goal.
later. The second, yeah, but the one against Yaka, that wasn't. They didn't score until
No,
later.
they
They
didn't
scored
score.
until
No, but
extra
it was
time.
a similar move, a long ball. Jota takes it down on the chest and he finishes. Many have asked what would have happened up in Anfield, and who knows, two different situations. But anyway, a VAR check and Gabriel is a little bit deeper. We all hoped that it would
I mean,
be.
if we played the way that we played in the first game at Anfield, and if that was played in the Emirates, and we played the same way, I would expect us to win that, right?
Mhm.
I would expect us to win that one, and then,
That's
then you go to
disappointing.
Emirates with hopefully at least a goal lead, and maybe you have to hold on tight, but it gives you a little different sense of uh, so you have a little bit more confidence going into that match. I mean, going in 0-0 meant it was just one goal. Yeah.
Stan, you're old enough to remember Odegaard's language style reminds me of Chippy Brady's style. Yeah.
Yeah, I answered a question that somebody in my Twitter feed put up, and it was which was the first Arsenal player to leave the club that broke your heart for them to leave? And for me, it was Liam Brady when he left us to go to Juventus, because he was the player that really got me into liking Arsenal when I went to my first game at Crystal Palace. He was the one that stood out, and then not so long after that, he left us for Juventus. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, when we had that free kick, when we get free kicks now, I perk up because Odegaard's very good at them. He invariably gets his shot on target at least. So I was a little bit surprised to see Lacazette take the scoop shot, but he did very well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more set pieces taken by Odegaard because, as I say, he gets them on target nearly 9 times out of 10.
And let's hope another one on Sunday would be nice to get a double against Burnley because I love that swoop out of Tony. He did score the free kick at Burnley Park. Listen, I've been eager to blood the young players. We were talking about this last season. I feel like we're a season behind. We're starting to do that this year. You must remember these kids are playing well. Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli are showing the way for us. As bad as things feel today, I'm eager to start rivalries with Liverpool. And there can be no bigger rivalry.
It's already started, I think. I think it's already started.
Here's the thing, Stan. You've got Mikel Arteta. He is from Manchester City, and he used to play with Everton. What bigger rival to Liverpool could you have than Mikel Arteta on the sideline?
I mean, growing up as a small boy, Liverpool was one of those teams that I used to quite like because I supported Arsenal, but I quite liked, Liverpool and some of the players that they had. And, if Liverpool were on Match of the Day, I'd watch it. but I hate them now. They really fucking piss me off. You know, especially I used to really like Klopp as well. When Klopp first came to England, I was like, oh, we missed out. I like his personality. He's just like a moody old woman now, isn't he?
Oh, he was really nice today. He was smiling ear to ear. He loved it today.
Oh, of course he's going to be smiling today, but he's changed, and you know, I really have a problem with Liverpool now. They're on my shit list. They're not getting any fucking Valentine's cards this year.
Yeah. Gary, how dare Liverpool be outraged that Arsenal are trying to look after themselves in the last week and doing right by themselves?
You mean the entire Premier League is a little upset with Arsenal for, you know what? Maybe we can't play this week because we don't have enough players, you know? So as somebody said, that means at least that's one positive we made out. You know, we realized that whatever we do, people get pissed off. So, you know, and that's why closing the Doosan deal would be another feather in our cap, essentially, because nobody thinks we can get them, and we get them anyways. You know, and that's what Arsenal. You know, everybody keeps talking about the Arsenal. Well, that's what the Arsenal does, right? Doosan wants to get Champions League. Guess what? Come here and get us Champions League. You know, you want Champions League. Where would you rather get Champions League? Get it here. And now guess what? You're going to have to play teams that win Champions League, like Chelsea. You know, you're going to have to beat them, like Liverpool. You're going to have to beat them. Guess what? You don't get when you're playing with Juve. You're not getting multiple. You know, I don't know who do they play, but you know, it's not the same. So I think. I don't know if I went the wrong way there, but
Who do you play? Who do you?
No,
play?
you're bang on target, Gary.
Yeah.
You read my mind, and I've been saying this for a while with this Vlahovic situation. You know, when you're linked with a player and you see that line, the player might not want to go to such and such a club because of the Champions League. They might not get in the Champions League. I want to see Dusan Vlahovic come around and say, you know what? You bring me to Arsenal, we're going to get in the Champions League.
Get there. Yeah.
That's what I will help you do. I want to see that. He has been so tight-lipped. You know, there's been nothing. There's not even been a comment where it's like, well, of course, everybody knows that Arsenal's a good club with a rich history, but I don't really say too much about my future.
Yeah,
there's nothing. You know, you can, even by saying, you know, there's no cheeky picture. There's no picture of him walking through an airport with an Arsenal scarf hanging out of his bag, or there's nothing. Yeah. And it really, I don't want it to be a situation where we're used as a stepping stone, because we all know that if Juventus put a bid in for him tomorrow, that's where he would like to go. And I kind of had a feeling that with Aubameyang, when we gave Aubameyang his new contract, if you remember, it wasn't a case of your contract's up for renewal and he's like, yeah, where's the pen? There was a little bit of dragging, and there was some talk about maybe him not wanting to sign and to see what Barcelona was doing. But then the move, nothing happened. There was no formal bids that came in for him. And I always felt that when he put pen to paper, it was like he was waiting it out for a better offer. You know, he was waiting for something better to come along. It didn't come along. So he took what was like that was on the table. And I don't want us to fall into that trap with a Dusan Vlahovic who thinks, okay, fuck it, I'll take this deal. And he comes here half-heartedly, and two things either happen. He either gets unsettled right after halfway through his contract and wants to go to Juve because they've got money, or he comes here, we spend all the money, we do everything, we roll out the red carpet, we give him everything that he wants, but we don't get a return on it. And then we've got another fucking Pepe on our hands. You know, 72 million, our record signing, and he can't get in. Our third or fourth highest player on the payroll can't even get into the squad. We can't let that happen again.
No, we got to make the right moves. Loki, why laugh? We made Campbell a winner. There is a saying that Sol Campbell always wanted to win the league at White Hart Lane.
We're talking about Joel Campbell.
No, Sol Campbell wanted to win the league at White Hart Lane, so he went to Arsenal and he won the league at White Hart Lane. So there you go. That's how the story goes, Loki. He left your shit team and came to us and won the league.
I mean, and I think the type of players that we're talking about, they're not out there. They can't talk and then back it up, you know. And that's the it's really hard. People don't want to do that because then they lose money that way. They're always worrying about the money. Guess what? It doesn't matter. Just if you go out there and do it, you're going to get the money. I mean, you're going to get the money, you know. and they want to do it the easy way, right? Just get the money without having to do anything about anything for it. Um, so yeah, no,
Um,
he, he does. If he comes, he better show up. I mean, he's not getting vetted. He don't need a week to get into this. It doesn't take a week to figure out where the goal is. Get yourself in front of the goal. The ball's coming. We know it's coming because Tierney's going to put it in there. We know the ball's coming because Saka's going to put it in there.
yeah.
Just get yourself in the box. Ball's coming. Put it away. I don't care. And that's it. And we played with a Aubameyang who did nothing for us up front. So if Dusan can even make himself present in the box, that'd be a plus. And we know he just finished. Ball.
Gail is asking, what other strikers are an option? I believe that club would not. They are chasing Dusan, but there would be other options on the table. Jonathan David, maybe.
Declan Rice.
Isaac would be difficult. Declan Rice is a midfielder.
Midfielder, Tony.
Maybe there's a Declan Rice we don't. There could be another Declan Rice out there.
Yeah, and that's as Gail says
A
there.
Hibernian striker.
These players are young, right? They're all under 22, under 23.
I know.
And like that, and I said this so long ago that I just stopped saying it. The age dynamic at this squad is so poor. What player over 25 outside of Partey do we want to see play?
Hang on, BX Gunner. You know who I'm thinking about. Put it in the chat. Who should we be bringing in? You know the score, BX.
Yeah.
He knows who it is. Because you think about it, we're going to have to, between now and next January, we're going to have to bring in 3 strikers.
Oh, definitely.
Because Balogun's going to be on loan or maybe just, easing in. We need 3.
Yeah.
And
Rice.
And that's why this past window was really poor we were really poor that we didn't pick up Edouard or Dak or Tony.
There it is.
3 strikers coming that eventually are in the league now. We didn't get any of them, and we needed one of them. We could have got one of them. And you know what? And
Price is right.
You know what? And they could get him now while he's still figuring things out. Right? He's still kind of feeling his way around. He's not back completely, and they've already let what
this DCL could be a good shot with the
summer. I don't even want to talk about summer yet. We need one right.
No, but we could go get him now. The situation Everton's in right now, they don't have a manager. They would probably want to generate some cash for a rebuild.
What's his value? What's his value?
Probably 40, 45, easily.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad. I mean, if we can get him in now, but then add to the competition in that in that position in the summer, and if it's gettable and that kind of money, then
because 67.5 million.
What I don't want to see us do is bring in a midfielder now before the window closes, or bring in a striker now before the window closes. That are bits of sellotape.
£67.5 million, according to transfer market.
I mean, that seems high, doesn't it, Gary?
I mean, he's injury prone, so that would be if he was healthy. That number's if he's healthy, and he's not healthy. So you got to take a risk on it. So you should get a discount. It's like when we got Tierney. Tierney for 25 is a discount, right?
He's calling my sherry right now.
Whoever we bring in, we have to bring in someone, whether it's in the midfield or the strikers. That's not just going to be a bit of sellotape to the summer, and then we bring in people, and then they're no longer useful. They have to be someone that's going to be part of what we're doing for a while. Do you know what I'm getting at? We can't just do a knee-jerk reaction and just bring in a body, put them on fucking silly wages like we always do, with a minimum of probably about 80 grand. And then we bring in someone better in the summer, and then we have this player that's overpriced on his salary that we can't shift, and is just taking up another space. That can't be we can't do that. And that kind of worries me, because we can go down that road quite easily. If Calvert-Lewin, you're talking about the 60 million, I don't know. I think we could do better. I mean, you're looking at around about the same for a Jonathan David.
Yeah.
You know,
The situation.
Jimenez has the experience, which I know that I've trodden this line before with Jimenez, but as the experienced one out of the three that we have to bring in, because we're going to have to bring in three, I think he fits the bill. Only on 40 grand a week, which is the same amount of money that Eddie Nketiah earns. That's like something like
And you know what?
2.7 million a year.
You can't even compare those two players. How
Eddie
can you
Nketiah,
compare those two players?
we've made Eddie Nketiah a very rich man. He's a millionaire already. He's on 2.7 million a year, and he's not even a main playing striker in a Premier League team. So do you see what I'm coming at? You know, he's already made. He's already sorted. If you see where I'm coming from, but something like Jimenez, it would be a step up for him. I'm not saying that he's going to get 20 goals a season, but he would be a good person for a couple of years, 1.5 seasons to 2 seasons, while the other two that we have to bring in to make up the three, maybe a Jonathan David, maybe
You know what?
maybe a Darwin Núñez. It's a good bridge.
And in the race for a top four that we're going to talk about, you know, if we want to still think we're in a top four race, I think we are. You know, this is the kind of striker we might have to do. We might have to do an experienced, a serviceable striker. Rudy said Premier League clubs don't want to sell to other Premier League clubs in January. Only exception was Torres. If the money's right and if they can get a replacement, I think everybody's got a price, right? Welbeck from Man United was bought in August, not January. Yeah, Jonathan David, League One strikers are a bit low level, I reckon. I don't know. I think they call it a farmers league, but you know, French league is not a bad league. We would play his ass off when he's older. Can help the youths. Tony, what you thinking on a striker, Dusan? Do you think Dusan is the a viable? And the links just won't go away.
No, they won't go away. I know Stan really doesn't want him, but
It's not that I don't want him. I'm just very nervous. I'm really nervous how I learned a lesson after Nicola Pepe. I got hyped up with everybody else. I never even really seen him play. But everyone was like, Nicolas Pepe's coming. I'm like, who? Nicolas Pepe's costing us 72 million. I was like, yeah, wow, this must be fantastic then. And you know, I got kind of swept up with it all. And it's just not materialized. And I don't want to do that with this guy.
For the same price, I don't know why we didn't go for Littorio this summer, even though they ended up selling Lukaku, but we should have went in sooner. We should have got Littorio. I think he was the best option. Now they're definitely not going to sell him. So,
Gary, internal solutions. Do we have any internal solutions?
Fuck no. What kind of question is that, Ray?
For striker?
You're setting Gary up for a fall there. It's a trick question, surely.
And I was like, for what position are you talking about?
Any.
We have no answers for any position on this field.
Look, Leno wasn't even in the squad today. We didn't field Leno.
He was out injured. He's injured.
Or is it because of the rumors of the Newcastle?
No. It was 3 players were out injured. Leno was one of them.
We're getting a head turner in.
Cedric and Chambers were also on the injury list.
Turn your head, Turner.
Yeah, no.
Matt Turner.
We have no answers for a striker in this squad right now. And actually, we do, but we won't even try it. Let's put Martinelli up top and let him do what he does. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They won't even do it. You know why? Because you know what? Because Pepe is struggling. If Pepe was doing anything, we would be able to put him out there. And maybe you put Martinelli up top. Because I like to think if Pepe, like the way Pepe played, you know, did you see him play today? A goal and an assist.
Apparently, yeah.
If he could play like that, then maybe a Martinelli up top makes sense because you're going to want to put those 4 players up there, and maybe we get something out of that and have Erdegaard kind of sit behind them, kind of thing. It'd be nice to see what that looks like, right?
4 goals created for Pepe in the AFCON so far, but Arteta doesn't trust him. He's not playing, so it doesn't really matter.
You don't put confidence in your players, and this is what you get. You get a Pepe. Yep. You know, Pepe does things that some of these other youngsters can't do right now. He just doesn't. I don't think he feels confident when he comes on the pitch that he's gonna do what Arteta wants because he's too busy thinking about what Arteta is telling him to do, which has nothing to do with his skill set or his strengths. Right? He's
Mm.
worrying about probably defending, when in reality we want him to be scoring and thinking about putting pressure on the back line and putting the ball into the box on goal. That's what we want him to do.
It just
So
hasn't. Just would say this hasn't worked out. I mean, we saw some flashes under Emery. There was never really any consistent performances from Pepe under Emery, and it seems to be the same under Mikel Arteta. And I know that you have that old adage where the saying is, you train in the week to play on a Saturday. Is it a case that Pepe is so awful during the week? But I mean, you can have exceptions, right? Patrick Vieira notoriously was known as a terrible trainer, but he was one of the first names he put on the team sheet because of what he could do on a Saturday.
yeah,
So there definitely seems to be some dissatisfaction with Pepe, I think, behind the scenes. I don't know if it's body language. I don't know if it's tardiness. Always the last one coming out of the changing room. Always the first one to leave training. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't seem to be working with Mikel Arteta. And it's sad because he's our record signing. And all the time I've been supporting Arsenal, we've never spent this much money on a player. And it's just, it doesn't seem, it just hasn't panned out at all.
this reminds me.
That's what happened when he paid double his price to begin with. When he's worth.
Well, you know what? That's the thing. And if that's what's on his mind, then as a manager, you got to tell him, that's not why I'm playing you. I'm playing you for, like Ray Anderson says, he has some good stats. It's like, you see those stats that we got last season? You got to double that because I didn't even get to play you as much as I wanted to. That's what Arteta should be telling them. Say, why can't I get you on the field so you can play all those games so you can double your stats? Right?
I mean,
That's what needs to. That's a challenge from your manager saying, guess what? I got confidence in you. You giving me 15, whatever number of goals and assists you got last season. You can double that because I'm not even getting to play you much. And you know what you need to do to get out there. And for me, all he needs to do is take the damn shot. He doesn't even take the shot. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So
that's a line. That's from a line from a film, but I can't remember the film. Take the damn shot. I can't remember what it is. I'll get it later.
I mean, I'm always screaming at our players to shoot, and we saw that today, right? You're talking about you got a young person in goal, and we're not even looking to shoot once we get anywhere near the box. I mean, we had a couple of times where, like, I think Erdegaard was sitting right on the 18, and I'm like, take the shot right there. Nope, he tries to chip it over to Saka. Saka's the smallest guy on the pitch. What are you chipping it over to get it to him when you could just take the shot?
Stop saying that.
I need to know where that movie's from, where that line is. What movie that line?
I can't quite see the target. I said, take the shot. God damn it!
No, the shot was there. That's what it's something like the shot was there, but he didn't take the shot.
Crap. Stop saying that.
That's gonna bother me.
Yeah.
Gary, it's the minutes that he's got to give to Pepe, but he doesn't want to give to Pepe. And we look at Saka. He's been playing. He's got no competition on the right wing.
And that's and I think the reason why we're seeing Tierney play the way he is because he knows once in a while Tavares is going to have a string of games, and when he does, he'll be sitting. So I think hopefully that's kind of pressed the button that Tierney, you need when you get out there, you need to play a lot better. Like you said, we have nobody's threatened.
Saka.
Nobody's threatened, and nobody's looking over their shoulder at who might come in for them. I mean,
yeah, we don't want Saka out of the team, but he does need a rest from time to time.
Well, we didn't play for a week. If that's not a rest, I don't know what else. What else do you want? You had a week off, so I don't think that's the problem. And I mean, the only thing I can see is if you've got a number of players with COVID. Your other players may not have it, but they may be getting worn down a little bit from it just by being exposed to it at some point.
Stan, was it Peacemaker or Skyfall?
I'm looking as well.
Trying to find, is that a
quote?
I found they saying that it was.
That's why Gary and I were chatting.
I see Peacemaker with George Clooney and Skyfall. So
Yeah, I see Skyfall. Take the shot when he's on top of the train. I thought it was for something else. I'm sure of, but
It is because I
I'm
I
getting
haven't
off
seen
track.
either one. I
But
haven't
Gary
seen
just
either
kept
one of
the
them.
way Gary kept saying it, I just kept thinking of like somebody on a rooftop, like
Man, you know what I mean. You don't
pointing at
understand.
their
take the
goalkeeper,
fucking shot
pointing
at
at
it.
their goalkeeper with an earpiece in, and they go,
Yeah,
"Take the shot."
The guy with the beard.
when I'm watching the games, that's basically all I'm saying. As soon as they get it, I don't do, like
You do
when they're
that
inside
every
the
game,
18.
Gary. You're always like taking a
Exactly,
shot.
because guess how many times we don't do that? You know,
Let me ask you guys a quick question about Nicola Pepe before we go away from him. Keep or sell?
Sell.
we got to sell them now because we've wasted it. We've wasted it. The only
3
reason why I'm
seasons
saying
out of a
sell 'em-
5-year deal, right? Something like
Yeah,
that, isn't
The
it?
reason why you say sell is because you can't see Arteta playing him in the team, right?
Pretty much.
he's not gonna change his way. So I don't want him to keep a player because of the price tag when he doesn't want to play him. So
That's
waste.
the reason why we're saying sell because Arteta's not going to play him.
Hang on, let me
Right.
ask the
Yes.
chat as well. Put in the chat, Pepe, buy or sell? Should we?
I
Is it Pepe? Is it a problem with Pepe and he needs
I
to
would
go,
keep
or is
him.
it because he's being used in your eyes? He's being used wrong, and if there
He's
was
been
a
used wrong.
really, you
He
think
did
that?
good on the left. I miss
This
him
is
playing
the
out on the
problem.
left wing.
And most of you know
I disagree, Tony, because if he's on the left, right, and he's a left footer, then you're expecting to get up to the byline and cross. But we all know that he wants to do like an R in Robin, cut in on his on the from the opposite flank, and then take the shot. Take the shot. We're doing it again. Stop it. Get back to that. But do you know what I mean? So I think on the left he's a little bit
Pepe as a striker needs
Yeah.
to
to cut in and then take the shot on his
And
right.
that's just, yeah, and that's what Assembled. See, right? Assembled
Already
might
man.
he's got a point there because like any manager, like if you told Graham Potter, here's your squad. This is your squad. Look at all your players that are out on loan. Look at all the players that we have in the house. What can you do with it? The answer would be so much different than what we're getting from Arteta,
But
and the results would probably look so much better as well, because he's coached before, he's managed before, and he's doing more with less. And if he doesn't have the right players, they're going to figure out that that's the only way they're going to get to play. They are so
Right.
disciplined, and they don't even have the same skill sets as us. Why is that? Right?
Gary, do you think Graham Potter is going to get a job in the top 6 or 8 teams in the league?
If Arteta can get a job in the top 6, then Graham Potter can't because he doesn't have the hair, and he hasn't sitting on the sidelines next to one of the top managers in the league, and that seems to be a criteria for getting these jobs.
Head and shoulders,
Right?
head and shoulders adverts. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, if I was the guy in fucking who owned Leicester, I'd probably be looking at him right now and thinking of him as fucking a swap out for Brendan Rodgers because. I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up first of all. Before I slag off Brendan Rodgers, right? Before I slag him off, I'm going to hold my hands up and say that when we were looking at a manager after Emery, he was one of the ones that I had towards the top of my shopping list. What a bottle job yesterday. What fucking Leicester bottle jobs, mate. Bottle jobs. Absolute bottle jobs, man.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't want to go there.
Simone and Rogers top my list.
We'll go there in a minute. But to Saudi Arabia, yes or no?
Bye-bye.
For 8 million, you're willing to let go.
It's not the 8 million, it's the 300K a week. That's what it is, Ray. So stop looking, stop trying. Nah, come on, dude.
There's a couple of sides to this.
It's like $30 million at the end. $30 million, 30 million pounds at the end of the contract if you let him go.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
There's a couple of sides to it because I see that I saw the story come up that there was a team in the Middle East that were willing to take him and pay for 8 million and blah blah blah. But yesterday I was listening to I was listening to Hugh Wizzy. This is for the ones that care. Hugh Wizzy. I love the beginning of his show. I was listening to that yesterday, and he was talking about that, and he was looking at this team that wanted to get him, and then he linked up to this. Some guy in Saudi Arabia who's big on their Twitter over there with football. And as Hugh Wizzy said, he goes, I can't pronounce his name, but he's got 1.4 million followers. So you will respect him. And this guy was basically saying that there's been no contact from this team regarding Aubameyang. There has been no bid, and it's not something that's on their agenda. And when I was on the post show today of a Burkamp Wonderland, and I mentioned that, they were telling me that as they're understanding it, there's not one team from the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia region, that's put a bid in for Aubameyang. There's two teams that have put a bid in. So I don't know what's what on this story.
And then that's supposedly PSG and
Yeah, I
I
heard
saw that in Europe, some
multiple
Europe
Saudi.
teams. Yeah, I saw that.
and
I heard
if some
Saudi
team wants him, shouldn't he already be gone?
Well, are you going to let go of a striker until you have one in house?
How much is he giving us right now?
He's still a
That's
striker.
like saying, should we let go of Nketiah or not?
Well, which one is better? Would you want to? Which one is better right now, Aubameyang or Nketiah?
They
Neither.
both can go.
No, which one is better?
I don't want either of them.
No, which one is better?
It could be a draw, right?
Basically, what you're saying is there a way for Aubameyang to work his way back into this squad? That's what it would boil down to. And I don't know whether, in order for that to happen, Aubameyang has to want to be able to take that route. And I don't think that's the case. All of his transgressions that led up to him, being dropped for games and such like, and what have you. I honestly believe that when he was punished, he didn't respond well to the punishment. Mm-hmm. Instead of holding his hands up and going, yeah, I've been a fucking ball ache. It's going to improve. Just trust me. And I've said it before, but he probably might not have lost the captaincy, but I think he responded. I don't know this, but I have an idea that he didn't respond well. And then they thought, fuck this shit, you maffy little shit. And they took the captaincy off of him. And he's been rebelling ever since. Well, no, he's been said there's rumors and there's stories, but I'm going to fight it. And it just really reminds me of how it was when he left Borussia Dortmund, because we heard stories. I did. And I was like, oh no, are we getting a troublemaker? And I was proved wrong. He came in with his big smile and his Black Panther mask, and we all loved him. However, now it looks like it's that Aubameyang that we have on our hands. And he seems like the sort of guy that when he's had enough, you must have worked in a job, and one day he's like, fuck this shit, I'm done. I'm done. I don't care what the manager says to me. I can't stand him. I hate this place, and I'm going to look for another job. He seems to be that kind of a guy. When he's had enough, there's no talking him around. He's like, no, it's done. So move him on if we can.
Yeah, and I was going to say that to that same point, when he gave away that free kick in the Liverpool match, which they ended up scoring on, at no point did he look. I don't know. The videos never showed it, but I don't believe he ever probably told his teammates, "I'll get us the goal back. Don't worry about it. My bad on the free kick. I should never have made that foul." I don't think he didn't apologize after that. Like, he didn't get up right away and go, "Sorry, it's on me. I screwed that up."
Yeah.
And after they scored, did he look like he was going to score in that match? No. Right. And you know what? That's what and that's what you need. That's what we needed from him at that point. Those are like easy ones, right? I screwed up. I'm going to get it back. Just get me the ball. Guess what? Get me the ball. You know what? Get me the ball. I want to score.
Yeah.
We need to score. Get me the ball. And that's what you want from a striker, especially after they make a mistake like that.
And maybe, Gary, one that says, not only am I going to make up for that mistake, I'll get the next one to put us ahead as well. So,
and he was that player before the contract.
Yeah,
I don't think he was. Was he that player?
Yes, give me the ball. Remember Leno and him kept us up, kept us where we were in the league.
No, but I need to see I need to see that vocally or
but
presented to the team.
Vieira.
Huh?
Vieira wasn't that vocal person. He put it. He played on the field by example. He led by example.
What example did Aubameyang show to you that said, "I'm going to get me the ball and I'm going to score"?
That season with Bernd Leno in goal and Aubameyang scoring goals. 2 seasons.
That was a good season. Yeah, it was hard to say who was our best player at the end of that season. Was it Aubameyang or Leno? We had nothing in between.
And then we won the FA Cup, and then three games
went off the cliff.
3 games into the season, he gets his contract, and that's it.
And I always go back to that going, that's Arteta. He changed basically what he wanted out of his squad because he finally got what he wanted. He finally got
But
settled into it, and then we actually got to see what actually he wanted to do, right? And it wasn't to benefit the skill set of your new
but
top
the
salary player.
gets his contract and stops playing. Is it on the manager? You
If
It's
the
know,
on the
player if
club.
the player plays him out of position and asks him to do stuff he hasn't done
yeah.
to get to this point in his career, yes. The man's almost 30 years old, and now you're telling him to do all this stuff that the youngsters can
Yeah.
can do. Yeah,
So
it's gonna. Why would you? One, you have to know he's going to do it before you give him that contract and change up the entire scheme that you have set up for your team. And if you're not going to do that, and you don't know your players, right? That's what I that's what
mm,
I feel happened there. He
yeah.
doesn't know his players, so then he doesn't. It puts them in situations they're not comfortable with, and they don't trust him.
So
They tr-
he tried to play him through the middle. I think that's what Tony wants to talk about next.
And as a start, in general, to me, it's on the club. They're the one that upped his contract by 100 grand a week, still giving him a huge goal bonus. COVID just starting. To me, you never give him. You don't give him 100,000 extra a week. Maybe 25,000. Why wouldn't he do that? And then he gets the captain's armband. We went head over heels trying to woo a player that's 30 that I said from the beginning would be a bad deal. Turns out I was right. Yay, Tony.
Well, when you're always on the negative side of the coin, you get to be
I'm
right
not
sometimes.
always on the negative side of the coin.
Um,
There's a ring. There's a reason Winger didn't sign players for more than a year after they
after
turned 30.
30, yeah, because they go on the downward scale. Tony, do we have enough data now, or data, whatever we say it, to go with the argument of Aubameyang was better on the left than through the middle?
It shows up in the stats all the time. We have a better win record, more goals, more assists when he plays on the left.
Hmm. Or at least when we went 4-4-2 or whatever you wanted to call
I
that,
mean, there's a reason Klopp started playing him on the left.
4-1-1.
He's better on the left. To me, he was never really a striker.
Anything else about Aubameyang from Stan or Gary? I mean, we are happy that he still seems to be healthy now. The latest reports is that he is healthy.
is he healthy? What does that mean?
He
Is
said
he
he's fine. Today
is
he
he
said
gonna
he's
play
perfectly
for us,
healthy.
or is he gonna
Yeah.
get sold? I mean, because
Well,
Today he
that's
said he's perfectly healthy, Gary.
that's
So
Arteta.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Healthy means what? I mean, does it mean
Ready to
is he
play.
going to come back ready to play? Is he actually going to play? Is he actually going to play the way we want? Is he actually?
Pepe's healthy. Pepe's fit, but is he going to play? Probably
When
not.
when I saw the interview with Mikel Arteta and they were talking about Aubameyang coming back, Mikel Arteta kind of looks sort of that very. He looked like we don't even know why he came back, kind of a thing. But he's back, but we don't know why he's back. And there were rumours, weren't there, that while he was away with his international team, that he was basically out on the lag, trying to bring birds back to the hotel, which he's
Yep.
denied. We don't know that's true. I'm not saying it's true, but
Allegedly.
allegedly, if
Put the allegedly word in.
he's got, they're saying he's got lesions on his heart, as did another player that got sent back. Well, I don't know what that means. I'm not a doctor, but for them Arteta to turn around and say, "Well, he's perfectly fit," so you would think that something like lesions on your heart, I don't just sort of
I think
like
it's
go away in
might-
24
One,
hours.
one,
I don't know.
one story that I heard, I don't know because I don't know if it's true or not, but one story I heard is that he was saying that he just didn't feel right, and supposedly they don't have the facilities to get him checked out, MRI or whatever they need to do the scans or whatever, and that's the team was like, well, you know what, I got a player who doesn't feel right, is having some whatever problems with his chest, his breathing, whatever the case may be. We can't do anything for him, and we'd rather him not play and collapse on us. So you know what? Maybe you should just go back and it wasn't just one player. I think it was two players, right, that went back. So it wasn't necessarily So it's either a health problem between those two players who both had COVID, or it's the other thing. Some rules were broken and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, if he's healthy, then it makes you wonder, was that health scare just a smoke screen, or is it something else? Was it rules broken again? But
Um,
in reality, if you can get rid of him, you should. You know, they they will keep him and then rip off his contract, and we're going to look back and go, you had how many opportunities to sell him? Because right now it seems like there's three European teams and two, Middle Eastern
at
teams
least
supposedly that are looking at him. And if that's the case, and you don't sell him, then he better play tomorrow. You know, he
The
better
other
play
thing,
tomorrow.
the other thing is as well. I mean, if you do want to get rid of him, do you really want to say, "Oh yeah, he's fucking really sick. He's really ill. He's got really bad
no,
heart problems,"
no.
and do you also want to come out and say, "Yeah, man, he was fucking birding it up on international duty, getting fucking drunk and trying to bring birds back." You're going to try and play all of that down because if there are serious people looking at him and they're willing to pay the wages that he's on, then you don't want to have any like hitch ups there. And all of that I said was obviously allegedly because we don't know any of that to be
Mhm.
true. But it kind of seemed like the way that Mikel Arteta was the surprise. It was like he was asleep. It was like 6 a.m. The doorbell went. He came down in his dressing gown, scratching his ass, expecting it to be the milkman. And he opened the door and there was a Bamiyang with his bags. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? You're supposed to be like." He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm feeling a bit." He just looked totally caught out. So. Is he going to be back training with the rest of the team, or is he going to be training on his own?
Yeah, because
If
if
he's
he's going to
training
train
with
his
the
own,
team, there's a
bye-bye.
way back in. If he's training with a
Yeah.
team, then he's being given an opportunity to work his way back in. If he's training on his own, they're just keeping him fit to sell him.
Yeah.
If
If he
Bamiyang
wants,
retires, will Arsenal have to pay his contract off?
Yes.
Retires, he's got another 18 months. GH lost with
If a
a
player retires, then they're not forfeit the rest of their contract because they're saying, "I can no longer play the game.
yeah.
I can no longer work for you."
yeah,
Guess
I
that
don't
makes
think
sense.
I don't think if you quit, you get your money. He's
No.
gonna just string it out and say, "No, I got this." Fall ill, fall injury, and that's it. But
Um,
you don't walk away. He's got,
no,
like I said,
not
he's
from
got
that
20,
cash.
30 million
Yeah,
pounds still on
yeah.
that contract. He's not going anywhere.
Anything else on the contract front? I do think Arthur Mello will come in from midfield, but Juventus have to obviously get replacements.
They
This
keep
is
saying
Yippee.
replacements, but then they keep saying, no, we don't want 6, we want 18 months. So I don't believe it has anything to do with coverage. Because if we said today we'll take him for the 18, he's gone. So it can't be
Has to be
that.
18 with an option, not 18 with an obligation, because he comes for 18 months and he's stinking up the place, and then we got to buy him after that. We got to get an option, right? And we
Yeah.
hedge our bets. That's the best
Yeah.
position.
all right. Any other bits and pieces of transfer news? I want to talk about maybe the allegedly the betting
Yeah,
stuff for a few
yeah,
minutes,
yeah.
and we have to preface everything with allegedly.
Allegedly, Jocko is the reason, so he's got to go.
All transcripts after this podcast will be sent to
Well,
Rohan just to go, make sure that we didn't say anything that's going to fucking
Yeah.
get us up in front of a judge.
Stan, if you're going to, if you're not that we advocate betting, we don't advocate betting, and you should always
I do. Warren gives
You
me
always
money, donates
bet-
money to my leg.
Yes,
I like it.
exactly. You should always bet responsibly. But if you as a
Donate your
punter,
money to Tony.
if you as a punter are going to bet on any player in the Premier League picking up a yellow card, don't you think that would be Granit Xhaka, first of all?
He'd be high up there.
No, Jacker just gets straight reds, mate. He doesn't do double yellows. He doesn't do that, man. He goes straight in with the reds.
Well, let's just say he's very familiar with all the referees, right, Gary?
Yeah.
So, Ray, are you trying to say, do you think he bet on himself?
No, I'm saying there's many, many layers to this, and you can look at this in very, very many different ways.
I can
And we
remember.
don't actually really know what game they're talking about. So
I can remember many
Yeah, we
years
do.
ago. Right?
Yeah,
It
the
was,
league-
it was all,
there's no confirmation. Like I've heard December 18th, but that was just somebody's tweet that went out. But then I've also heard it was a game where I think it was Tierney or somebody else got a yellow.
The
So
Athletic knows. Come on.
did
I
Athletic
can
say a date and a time and a player?
I'm sure they told other people, Gary. They're not just a.
I
No,
can
but I mean,
remember. Sorry, sorry,
It's
Gary.
not like a
Sorry.
big mystery of fog, Gary. Come on.
Kind of have to jump in, Stan.
So no, I thought Gary. I'm sorry, Gary. Go on. I thought Gary'd finished.
yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. I was just saying that I can remember many years ago, maybe back in the 90s, a football match with West Ham, and I can't remember who they were playing. And as they kicked off the game for kickoff, they had the two players in the centre circle. One player kicked it to the other guy. I think it was Paul Kitson, and Paul Kitson just turned around and kicked the ball out of play, directly along the white line, out of touch at the halfway line. And I remember looking at that and thinking to myself, someone had a bet on now that there would be a throw-in within the first 5 minutes. It was the kickoff of the game. He played it to one guy. He turned around and just kicked the ball straight out of play. There was no one on him. There was no one impeding him. So you do get these kind of things because you can bet on anything out of bookies. You can say, okay, here's my bet. Such and such a team will get the first goal in the first half. Such and such will get a yellow card. There'll be a penalty, and then we'll score by. You can make these bets, and the allegation is that there was an anomaly on an Arsenal game to the tune of £65,000, which they thought was a little bit odd, and they're looking into it. And as I understood that, there was an article in the Athletic about it, and they've since gone back and taken a piece out. And the way that they've changed the article, it now seems that the referee is also under investigation in the game. So it doesn't necessarily mean it may be an Arsenal player, but they're also looking into the action of the official as well. Yeah. However, should it turn out, and this is like a should it, take it with a pinch of salt, and this is surrounded by a fucking big wagon load of fucking allegedlys, should it turn out that Granit Xhaka is in some way involved in some kind of a fucking betting ring, then Twitter is going to just fucking buckle. It'll just explode. There'll be a mushroom cloud over Twitter's headquarters. There's no way Twitter will be able to stand that.
So the situation, and we've seen the clip, right? It's the Leeds game, and he takes forever and a day to decide who he's going to pass the ball to. And
just another day for Xhaka. That's just business as usual.
You know what?
What's to do about that, Ray?
Liverpool took 30 seconds to get the ball out from the goalkeeper. Yep. 30. I looked at the ball went out of bounds. The goalkeeper has the ball. Of course, he takes it on one side, goes to the other side. It's like 30 seconds gone, and you're like, I've seen Leno get a yellow for that, right? And that, it's like it is interesting how we don't get teams don't get the same calls that we do. Interesting.
So Gary, we talked about Granit Xhaka, and he's like a walking yellow card or red card. Ever since he came back against Everton in that game, we've seen it. He's amped up. We've seen Norwich. He's had flashpoints. We've seen Leeds. He nearly got himself sent off at Leeds. He allegedly did this time wasting in the Leeds game, and then what he did at City. Okay, I don't believe that he pulled his shirt on purpose, but Granit Xhaka is always walking that line.
He did pull his shirt on purpose,
but
you don't reach out. You don't reach out and grab somebody's shirt by accident. I mean,
no,
you can't do that. No, if he left his leg in there and didn't move, and they hit his leg, then that was not intentional. That's just he's out of position.
What about a wrestling drop kick, Ray?
We've had snow. We've had ice here, guys. If you're falling, your arms are going out to protect yourself.
He wasn't falling. The guy was going by him, Ray.
No, but this is what Xhaka does.
On, man. Look,
no. You're making
a
relevant.
There have been some RKOs. There have been some RKOs out of nowhere when it comes to Granit Xhaka, and a few stone cold stunners and people's elbows. He has a lot of wrestling moves in his repertoire. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
And the problem with that whole entire sequence is he could have stopped it sooner. He let the guy get into his box, and that was basically where it all went downhill.
Yep, he moved out of the way, then he grabbed his shirt. In the story,
and it was Bernardo was more than happy to go over his leg, and I know Stan and Gary disagreed on that point.
No,
At
he
the time, when
definitely,
we played
he
a game.
definitely, he definitely dove. But you cannot grab his jersey. You
Great.
can't grab his jersey.
He's
Yeah,
making it
correct.
easy for the referee by doing
Yep.
that.
The only reason why they went to the videotape, basically, is because he grabbed the jersey. If he doesn't grab the jersey, there is no way. I believe there's no way they could look at that tape and go, "There's a foul here," because there was no contact. There was potential for a foul, but it was never.
I don't know what Devin
Remember,
got there.
remember what the commentator said only a few matches ago when he was in another situation and got booked.
Stan, explain
He
this
said,
comment to Ray.
hold on, he said, if in doubt, book Jacka. That's the reputation he has now in the game. When the commentators are saying that shit, he's marked.
Explain
And he's
the
brought it on
comment to
himself.
Ray.
Devon get table. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, Devon. Now I know what it means. I was reading Devon as in the play. Devon get the tables. You don't know what that is, right? It's the Dudley boys. Get the tables, Devon. And they go under the ring, they put out a table, set it up in the ring, and then some unlucky bastard gets put through it. Jacka style.
Get the table. Nice one. We toward the end of the show, we are going to drop the backstage pass when we go dead here at the end of the show. If you want to come in, say hello to the four of us, we're very, very welcome to do that. Ray
Yeah, we've got
Anderson,
glossy photographs that we can autograph for you and the whole shebang.
take the makeup off, all of that stuff. Jacques is so stiff. I can't believe that he karate kicked Jota last week. Anything else on the betting? I mean, the officials could be called into question here. Gary, we did have the City game where we got yellow cards everywhere. Even poor little Bukayo Saka got a yellow card, and Rodri is killing everybody on the field and not getting yellow cards.
And that's the thing I don't get sometimes is like at some point as a team, as a squad, you got to make the officials know that no, they can't do that to my players consistently over and over and over again. We got no, we've got no, what they call it, we've got no pull in this league. They just run all over us, right? And that starts at the top. Arteta's getting run over, and you know what? No credibility, no I forgot the word. I can't think of the word right now, but we just don't have the presence in the league that we need to have, right? They shouldn't be able to get those calls against us, and it doesn't go both ways. It's got to go both ways. They put 2 feet in and don't get a call. We put 2 feet in. It shouldn't be a call. That's how it's got to be that way. And somebody's got to exactly say it that way. And maybe that comes from the sidelines. Maybe maybe Arteta gets a yellow for saying that over and over and over again. Or, he does get the yellow and the official comes over and asks him what's going on. I need to see the same call that I saw over there. You tell me you do that, I'll stop. Respect. Yeah, we don't have any respect in the league right now. Everybody feels that they can get one over on us all the time when they get out there, and that's because of just where we are right now.
Nobody's going to give it to us. We have to go and take it, Gary. Go and take it. Predictions for Sunday. If everyone's okay
as well, before we do predictions, the mantra that the coaching team should be saying now to the team or the match day team before every game is, remember, when we go out there, we actually are playing against 12. Don't give the referee an opportunity. Yeah, we're not going to get the protection that we should be afforded, home or away. And that should be drilled into the team now that we don't have any friends. No one's going to help Arsenal get to where we want to get to other than ourselves. Our rivals in the league should be the rest of the fucking league. It should be us and everybody else. Every time we get bad press, that article goes up on the wall and you point at it and say, this is what they're saying about us. This is what they're saying about us. How do we answer that when the next game comes around? We show them in 90 minutes what we can do.
Yeah.
And that should have been like the mantra right after that City game when basically, like you said, Rodri did not even get a yellow and scores the winner. Right? I believe that's what happened there. And it's like, you know what? This is what at some point I want Arteta to say in his press conference. Yeah? I don't care if he gets fined for it. Everybody saw it.
Oh, yeah? He's going to front up, right?
He's getting fined anyways. getting fined now. He's not even saying the stuff that we want to hear, right? He's gotten. We got punished. We get punished in the game for
Yeah,
getting around the goal, getting around an official,
referee.
and everybody does it,
You
and
got
we don't
charged.
see that. And it's like,
Yeah,
are you serious? As a
it used to
manager, you
be.
got to say, you know what? I'm my players are doing anything different than anybody else out there. I want to see the consistency that they're showing there. Yeah, and that's what needs to be. At some point, you got to take the hit. Who cares?
The FA
Mm.
is so archaic that a few years back, every player had to come right up to the referee so they could get their yellow card dished to them right in front of their face. It was this kind of respect thing from the referees. But you have to earn your respect as well, and it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You're talking about betting irregularities. If you can't trust the officials to officiate the game, it calls into question the whole game as well when you have these betting irregularities which are being investigated. The assembly said we need to stop moaning about refs. I mean, if the refs were better, we'd stop moaning about them. You know, I think the standard of refereing has to be also go up a
Yeah.
little
I
bit.
mean, we've got
Um,
players getting stomped on face. We got
Yeah.
Xhaka getting kicked in the back of leg. No, no yellow. We got Erdegaard comes in, or is it? I forget. I think it's Erdegaard goes in for a shot. The guy steps in front of him.
yeah,
They call the ball out on us.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, those are just three that we can think of. I mean, there's tons of situations where we're getting penalized for it, and it definitely hurts. We're already on knife's edge as it is, and we're not and we're getting pushed over every time with
Yeah.
those decisions that go against us.
So our squad is stretched pretty thin. Are you all okay for about another 15 minutes? If anyone's got to go, that is fine. Also, we'll go through the Premier League games real quickly.
Hmm.
And but Stan, prediction for Sunday: Burnley, Sean Dyche coming into town. Hopefully,
Uh-oh.
Well, listen, it all depends on whether the man's got his fucking opal fruits at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? If there's no opal fruits for Sean Dyche, then we could be right up against it. So, but Burnley, it's Burnley, right? You never know with Burnley. They have a way of playing that sometimes can unsettle us. But as I've always been saying, and especially with the run that we had, where we were doing well, these are the games where we should be picking up points. We should be in a situation now where these are the games where we win our points, and then we can regroup and find out how we can do better against the big boys. But you don't know. However, this team has shown us, our first nine, because we don't have a first 11. Our first nine on their day can get a result. They
we
can
should
get a
we
result.
should petition to have 9 players on the field for every game.
And is this a home or away?
Home?
Okay, it doesn't really
The
matter.
home
does it?
game. And we got to start picking. We got to start stockpiling points now because
With the
getting
lack of midfield that we've got, with with a striker that seems to do some other good things on the pitch other than put the ball in the back of the net, it's worrying.
I think Burnley, if you're going to be even talking about top four, you have to go out and win that game quite comfortably.
Yeah.
And but Partey not being there, Granit Xhaka not being there, really, really is a problem.
And is Aubameyang going to be there? What's
Yeah.
happening? He's going to,
And I think El Neni is progressing with Egypt, so he's not coming back. So we're really looking at
like he's going to save the day.
Is he
I
going
mean,
to do something like
this is the state of the club we're at. We're talking about El Neni. We're missing El Neni.
Ray, I think Partey is out for Burnley. Yes.
That's
Yes.
the red. Yeah.
Red card today. Unfortunately, Partey. We'll rewind the tape. Partey made a mistake, but yeah, it's going to be tough. But Gary, if we're serious about top four, we have to beat Burnley on Sunday.
We have to win by at least 3 goals.
I'm not hopeful, Gary. Are you?
But that's what if we don't win by at least 3 goals, then we are nowhere close to where we need to be. 3. This is Burnley.
You really draw a line in the sand, don't you?
This is Burnley. Oh, Ray. If we can't beat the worst team in the league by 3 goals,
But they have 3 games in hand, so they aren't quite.
Fair enough.
it
Fair enough.
doesn't matter, Tony. It doesn't matter. They're the worst team in the league.
Yeah. No, these are the points that you need to pick up, Gary.
And it's all,
You're
if
right.
we win 1-0, it's not a good look because it shows the performance wasn't where it needed to be.
Hopefully,
And I don't care who's missing. We're gonna have Saka, we're gonna have Erdegaard, we're gonna have Emil Rowe, we're gonna have Martinelli. Those 4 players by themselves should be able to get us 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll need the rest of the team to help us get the other 1 or 2 goals that we're going to need to have a 3 goal lead. That's what I believe is going to have to happen.
Brady said, if we don't beat Burnley, we should stop playing league football. True enough.
And beating them is one thing, but actually having a good perform. And I'm always about performances over everything because I look at the first 2 matches against top teams in the league, the City and the Liverpools, and they looked really good for us. And then when we finally get a decent number of players together, we can't get anything out of them, and it's like, what's going on? You just saw how you can compete with these big squads. You need to be able to do that. If not, then something needs to change. But we need to, yeah.
Xhaka will still be suspended for that game. He had a 2-game suspension on the road, so I think he's missing Burnley. He will be back for the next game after that.
It's never good when you go into a football match and as you start sitting in, you're sat in your chair and the game's just getting underway and you're looking for goals and that, and it's not the striker that you're looking at. You're looking at wide players and maybe somebody in midfield. And that's where we are at the moment. We don't have somebody that we're looking at the tip of the fucking attack that when they get the ball, we're thinking, we don't have that person. We're looking for the goals from other areas. And I think that we've been quite fortunate that ESR and Saka and to an extent Odegaard have managed to chip in with the goals that they have. But it's not something that's sustainable. And we saw that today because, when wide players and midfielders can have off days or they can do things but not get on the end product. And then when Lacazette has that chance, sends the fucking ball to the moon. That's it's gonna undo us. And I do think that should we get to the end of this transfer window and we don't bring in a striker, I don't bet. I've never really been a betting person, but I would put a cheeky $5 down saying that between now and the end of the season, at some point we may have to field a team that doesn't even have a striker in it, like Man City. And it won't be because we're cool and hip like Man City and we can afford to do it. It's going to be because we fucking won't have somebody and we'll have to play an ESR or an Odegaard through that position. And if it goes wrong, then it's just going to be another mushroom cloud on Twitter.
You're thinking that Nketiah won't be around. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, maybe. And we could be only an injury away then of having to pull a stunt like that. Because I just don't think that
Lacazette's not going anywhere.
Lacazette's old legs.
I would think there's been some inquiries about Nketiah this from
He's
Brighton.
on 70,000 a week, Ray.
Brighton, West.
He's not.
He's not on. I looked at it and I don't see anything that says how much he's on, and that
70,000 a week, Gary.
I've got it right here. I can tell you.
While you're putting
right
that
here.
up, plan, let me just address the assemble here.
40 grand.
Liverpool, Chelsea, and City in all competitions. In the league, let's just look at the league. Liverpool 4 goals, Chelsea 2, and City 5. That is 11 goals in the league. We've conceded just 25. So you take 11 away from 25. We've only conceded 14 goals across all of the other games you assemble. So take out the top 3.
What does that mean? But we're trying to. We want to be in that top echelon. That just shows you how far away we are, and we're not getting any better right now. We're getting worse. The squad is getting worse.
Against the top 3, we are not good. Against the rest, it's debatable.
So Eddie Nketiah gets £45,000 a week. I said 40, which equates to £2.3 million a year. He's a very wealthy man already.
Arthur
Not
Gary.
that's got anything to do with it. And then, look, back in the day when I first started, watching football and that, we didn't really get much into the wages, did we? We didn't really get that much into it. We'd hear about a player coming on the back of the newspaper or an Oracle and CFAX, and we get a transfer fee, and that would be about it. But we live in an age now where we have people like the Swiss Ramble, and that's what they do. They tell us. We've got social media, so it's become part of it now. We're wrapped up in value for money. And some people will say, well, who gives a fuck what they get paid? It's just part of it now, And the only reason why we talk about football players' salaries in a weekly wage, think about any person that the job that you do, the job that your father does, the job that your friends do. Do you ever talk about your salary in a weekly increment? It's usually monthly or yearly. Do you know why we talk about footballers having weekly wages? And it's when you know the reason, it's fucking ridiculous, because they're harking back to a time when football teams were made up of guys working down the mill, working in the factory, and getting paid in a little brown envelope with shillings and a few pence and coins and a few pounds. But it sounds stupid now when you say it now, and you go, how much did you get a week? Oh, 180 grand, 250 grand. How does that equate to the working man?
Doesn't.
The working man doesn't get that in his little
world.
brown envelope each week. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't even get that in his fucking account in a year. So
it's a different world indeed.
Different world.
Let's get into real quickly. Tony's eager to do the upsets. So, Tony, we're going to skip.
So eager, he fucks off.
That was funny. That was perfect. That was great.
Puff. Like he's puffing.
You can't write comedy like this. It just happened.
That was
Tony,
perfectly scripted, man. It was perfectly scripted, just like we wanted it.
Listen, hopefully, if there's a game on Sunday, we'll be doing the pre-game and post-game, and it's my birthday, so it better be nice to me on Sunday.
How old are you to be, Ray? 51?
My birthday. Going to be a year older, Tony.
51.
I'm going to be a day older.
51.
See, why'd you ask me that? Tony, the shit game of the week is tomorrow. Watford versus.
That's not a shit game. It's about who gives a fuck game of a week.
Gives a fuck game. Remember? Watford versus Norwich. Let's skip over that one. Saturday, Tony. We'll go counterclockwise. Everton versus Villa. And we're going to do this quick.
Girl.
And listen, you can just say Everton is a shit show right now. Steven Gerrard needs a win. 2-2 draw for Villa. That was nice against Man United last week. Gary. Everton versus Villa.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Villa, I guess. So, yeah, and you know what? If they lose, maybe that'll give us a reason to go out there and get DCL. So, yeah.
There you go, Everton. Everton's that gift that keeps on giving, Stan.
See, obviously Villa are the team that are in the ascendancy since Steven Gerrard have come in. However, woe betide to any fucking Everton player that doesn't put a shift in when Duncan fucking Ferguson is your manager. I mean, so you never know. I mean, Duncan Ferguson is a fucking different kettle of fish, and he probably knows Everton's first 11 better than Rafa did, because he's been there for so long and he's so intrinsically, into everything in that club. He may be able to get a tune out of Everton where Rafa couldn't. But in saying that, I'm going to go with Villa to maybe edge it.
Yeah. Steven Gerrard.
The Coutinho effect.
Steven Gerrard going up to Merseyside, that's going to have some spice there as well. Looking at that. Stan, keep going. Brentford versus Wolves.
Ooh, I'll tell you what. What I will say is Ivan Toney is a player that a lot of people keep saying that we should be looking at, and I'm not convinced at all. He's nowhere on my list as someone to come into Arsenal, to be fair. I fancy Wolves.
Ooh, yeah, I know Tony fancies Wolves as well. I think Brentford are good enough to get a draw on this, and we don't have to pick our upsets. If you haven't studied them, we'll obviously let me know about them tomorrow or whenever. But Tony, Brentford Wolves. You like Wolves, Tony?
You already answered it for me, Ray. Why ask me?
Okay, I'm going to do that for every.
Tony's wallpaper looks like wolves. Very orange behind him there.
Gold.
I don't know why it looks so gold. It's like
Tony's gold member. Didn't you know that, Gary?
Yeah, I think Wolves will win this one, even though it's on the road. So Brentford, like, I mean, outside of the win versus us, they just haven't been that
They
consistent, right?
they,
I
up,
mean,
they did upset Liverpool way back in a 3-3 early doors in the season. Gary, Leeds United at home to Newcastle. Be nice to Leeds.
no, I think Leeds could probably get Leeds is home, right? Yeah, I'm going to go with the
No,
home team here. So,
Is Mr. Tom still here?
no,
no, I mean, he said it
listen.
was almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's been
Yeah,
brilliant. There's been a good few people in here tonight, and I didn't know, Stan, if people would come because Arsenal have lost or what, but a few people come in today.
As I said
Leeds,
to you, Ray, if you build it, they will come.
if you tear it down, they will come.
We all
What did
need
I say?
therapy, Ray.
Left. What was that? What was that thing? Left, right, middle of the road. I forgot. You
I'm
said
always
the-
middle of the road. My camera makes
Uh,
me middle of the road, Ray.
Leeds versus Newcastle. The Newcastle
Leeds.
Giants are not Giants.
Leeds, Ray.
All right. Man United, West Ham, Tony.
I
He
think
had
that's going to
one
be a
job,
draw.
Gary. He had one job.
I think that's going to be a draw.
Leeds versus Man United versus West Ham. Good game. Somebody's going to drop points there, Gary.
yeah. I mean,
Both
basically,
teams
I
are
don't.
dropping points, Ray.
Yeah, basically,
It's a
I don't
draw.
want anybody to win. That's how I
Hi,
want
Gary.
that game to go. So, but yeah,
Uh,
the draw is kind of what the only thing, the best scenario is draw.
West Ham have
uh,
kind of run out of a little bit of steam of late,
yeah.
haven't they? They've not been
Yep.
looking themselves, but they are due. They are due a goal or two. So I'd actually agree with Tony as well and say that could be a draw because they've got fucking problems at Man United. There's no doubt about it that they're not playing to their to their potential of what they have.
Wreck-It Ralph is not
Look at
doing
Ralph.
he's not doing the job for them at all. Stan, Southampton at home to City.
Oh, well, I think it's going to
Tough
be
one.
another case of tears for Ralph Husenhartl. It's going to be bawling his eyes out again. I don't think Southampton will get really anything out of that.
Tony.
City could beat them with their under 17s. City easily wins.
And Gary.
Yeah, easy win for City. Unless
Um,
they can replicate what we did, it won't be fun. It should be, you know.
They are a juggernaut. This is what City do. That's what City do. Drop the link if anyone wants to join us in a minute or two. Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Gary.
Yeah, it's my upset pick. It's probably the only for me. It's the only upset pick that makes sense. So, not that I
That's a canny selection. I was thinking about that because Liverpool are a bit tired from tonight.
Crystal Palace can surprise them. I mean, I think they play a better brand of football than we do. They're just not as good as us. So on a good day, they're going to be able to compete with Liverpool. Maybe they're at home, so Liverpool might be feeling it because they came in and beat us, but could be due for a letdown. So yeah,
Stan, there are Liverpool fans who feel they're still in the title race, but they have to keep winning.
Gary, I think of the ones that are available in this little competition that we do, and obviously you want to get the most points per pick. That's probably the one that could be the dark horse. Liverpool's not going to go invincible. They're going to have upsets along the way. They're short of some of their players. They've just played us, and although they didn't really seem to come out much from second gear, it still took a little bit out of their legs. And Crystal Palace at times have looked quite compact. It's a shame that they can't get Benteke firing on a more regular basis because he keeps hitting the woodwork and putting shots wide. But that could be an upset. I could definitely see them holding Liverpool maybe to a draw at least, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go for a draw there. Tony.
Liverpool beat them 3-0, 3-0 when they played them in Liverpool. Now they're playing at Selhurst Park. I think it's most likely a draw.
Okay. We talked about Arsenal Burnley. Does anyone think it's anything other than the win for Arsenal?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be something other. It could be a draw.
Could be an upset
Tough game.
lurking there.
You know what? If we don't get it, win.
I
I
just
mean,
wanted
like
to.
as somebody said in the chat, it doesn't get any easier than that
No.
for like the rest of the next month
Yeah.
or
They're,
and
they
a
are
half.
they're the bottom team. They're 20th. We got to put them to the sword.
Every other team we play after this has something to lose in the game, and they're actually some of them are playing decently. So, you know,
I
Got to
just
go
think
to Stan with
it's
the
going to
next
be
one.
very. I think it's going to be very predictable. Burnley will probably have a good idea of who we're going to be putting out because we just don't have a lot to draw from.
Yeah.
It's going to be a kind of a predictable lineup, and we don't have anything on the bench where if things are going a certain way that there's nothing there's no variety. Okay, we need to nullify this area of the pitch. Let's try doing this. We don't really have that. You're going to
There's
see people sat on the bench which don't have a fucking health chance of getting on to actually play any minutes. There's going to be names
There's
from
no
the youth
kick.
academy
We
that
had a
you're all
Salah.
not going to get on.
Yeah, we had a Salah on our subs bench. One
A
of the
Hutchinson, a Bereth, names like that will be peppering the bench. None of them are going to get minutes, so it's going to make it predictable.
yeah, and you know what? You might as well just go with the 4-3-3 again. You know, just go with that again. You know, and just
Tony calls it a
because somebody's asking about
4-1-2-1-2.
the midfield. I think in the chats who we thought the midfield would be.
I was talking to myself
for a Burnley match, and I think it should just be the same as what we did today.
The only other thing, Gary, that we could do from today, and I wouldn't want to do it, the only other option would be to change the formation and do a 3-5 at the back. But I don't want to see us. I don't want to see us go there personally. I would rather us.
Burnley.
Not against Burnley.
Yeah. So what else is there? As Gary says, it's going to be very predictable. We're probably going to go straight out with a 4-3-3 again. What else can we do?
I'd like to see maybe Patino play this game with Lakonga. It's a tough ask, but you know.
Didn't they? Was that the pairing we had against Nottingham?
Nottingham Forest, yeah, away from home though.
Yeah.
This is at home.
Yeah, but you know what? But Burnley is not, like as you said, they got 3 games in hand, so they're not as bad as a relegation team right now, I guess, right?
No, they're better. Yeah.
So that's the.
Sorry, Gary.
Patino can't play, right? If that's the case.
But if you've got someone like Patina, that could be something for the future. How long can you hide a player? At some point, they have to step into the firing line. You know, this would be his 3rd appearance in the senior team.
Yeah.
He had a good showing in his first appearance, not such a good showing in his second appearance, but yeah, it is like that. You know, we're breaking the glass with that little hammer, and we may have to give Charlie Patino another opportunity. All you can hope is that he thinks to himself, okay, well, this wasn't on the agenda for me to be playing this game, so fuck it, I'm going to give it everything, and who knows?
As Patrick Swayze says in Point Break, this is going to hurt a little bit, but it's for your development.
I'm so glad you didn't say this is from Patrick, as Patrick Swayze once said in Dirty Dancing, because I don't know where
I thought he was going to go to. I thought he was going to go to Ghost. I thought he was going to go to Ghost, and I was like,
I was doing Roadhouse.
Point Break.
I was like, Ghost. What quote are you going to bring out of that? Roadhouse. Like, what about Roadhouse? You could go to Roadhouse, and then I would go, yeah.
If it's Ghost, I've got a vision now of Granit Xhaka topless at the fucking pottery wheel, and Arteta's behind him with his arms around, helping him. Thanks, Gary, for that vision.
Stop. No, no. I'm gonna have nightmares now.
It's Point Break where he's showing he's got the girl hostage, and he's like, "This is gonna hurt a little bit, but it's for."
And he's got holding someone hostage. What again?
Yeah. Oh, anyway, it is Brendan Rodgers at home to Brighton. Is Brendan Rodgers close to maybe getting sacked? Dan.
See, Yuri Tillmans, I didn't see that game the other night. I just read about what happened.
He's an Arsenal player. He did exactly what Arsenal does in midfield. Dribbles the ball, beats a player, and he has a perfect pass to play out to the right. He doesn't do it. He tries to stuff it down the middle. The ball gets turned over, and 10 seconds later, Tielemans is rounding Schmeichel for the goal.
It's a shame because I've been seeing people online saying, "Fuck that Tielemans, he's toilet. Don't go anywhere near him." And I
No,
didn't see it. I didn't witness it with my own eyes, but I kind of like him.
That's what Arsenal do. He's perfect for us.
Should Brendan Rodgers be sacked?
Will he be? I mean, he's playing Potter. Potter's Brighton. Harry Potter.
I have to say at the moment that could be a draw as well. Where it should be a Leicester win. Do you know what I mean? Like, it should be a Leicester win, but it might be a draw, and it won't be a flattering draw to Leicester. Well, that makes sense.
We're getting toward the end of the podcast, so yeah, Gary.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a rough. It's been a rough.
Pick one, Gary.
He's got podcast fatigue. He's got fatigue.
I could definitely see a draw. So, Tony, your turn.
My turn.
Come on, let's go. Give me a
draw.
Troy Jarvis. Draw. It's very easy to say on the fence. Tony, Chelsea versus Tottenham. We want to see Tottenham lose.
Oh, God.
I think Spurs sneak out a win. Sorry.
F you. My God. Really?
You asked my fucking opinion, right? I'm going to bite my tongue.
Stan, he thinks Tottenham are going to beat Chelsea. Tommy Tickle.
He's not said anything that's really strange there, because both of these teams at the moment seem to be a little bit up and down. And Chelsea, who I thought would be, Chelsea's maybe drawing it to the line to win the championship, they're struggling a little bit. I mean, there's a question here that, is Tommy Tickle going to get fired if they don't win anything this season? Because Abramovich don't play. You don't bear any silverware at his feet, you're out. Your head could be on the guillotine, We've seen players, we've seen people come in and win shit. Di Matteo, we've seen managers win shit, and he's like, nah. I still want something else. So, you know what? Obviously, I always want fucking Chelsea to lose. Sorry, the Tottenham to lose, but I always want Chelsea to lose. And as someone did tweet it out today at the end of our game, they were like, well, obviously, I want Liverpool not to win the FA Cup now. And then they said, but then again, their opponents are Chelsea, and I don't want them to win either. I'm fucked. I'm stupid.
That's their two evils. That's why you always have to pick,
It's a rivalry, Chelsea and Tottenham. They hate each other as well. I'm going to go with Tony, though. I'm going to go with Tony. I think the Spuds could maybe squeak it out.
I don't want to see Conte dancing down the touchline again, almost like Jose Mourinho style.
I don't think we do either.
It's a tough one to call, I think.
Got to see some air taken out of the Spuds wheels. Gary?
I mean, it's funny because it's like,
we've never heard that before, Gary. Do it again.
Tough one, Gary, isn't it? I think it's a tough one, man.
Well, it's tough because it's like, are we you're gonna laugh. If Chelsea were to lose, that might give us an opportunity to get third in the league.
Best result for us is a draw, I suppose. Is the best result.
No, I know, but in general, it's like we're maybe we but
Gary, we'll have known what we did against Burnley by that time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. But the result, it still would matter, regardless of whether we played it before or after.
It would, because you beat Burnley, you get 3 points, and then you want to see maybe Chelsea lose.
True, but yeah. Now I get you. No, I think a draw is in our best interest, but I don't think, on a whole, we are going to take advantage when we need to down the stretch. That's the problem, because we haven't done it yet. Right, we haven't done it yet. We've had 4 opportunities
applied to us. We found it tricky.
We've had 4 opportunities in the last 4 matches to get something out of any one of those matches, and we've gotten nothing.
Yep,
nothing. No goals. Right? Did we get any goals? No goal. 1 goal in those 4 matches. We got 1 goal.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, 1.
So in 4 games where we needed to get something out of it, we got 1 goal.
I wouldn't want to know how many shots on target we've had.
And that's probably 4 on target, because we don't really put the ball anywhere close to the goal anyway. So it's probably 4 as well. We had 4 games, 4 goals. I mean, we had it's not. We are not playing good football, and for me, it's not because we don't have
Is it the
the depth.
opposition?
We
Are
still
we
have
not playing good football because of the opposition?
It's the manager, Ray.
played
Because of
Nottingham Forest.
injuries?
Come on, we're playing everybody without some of their top players. What more do you want? If we were playing against Salah and Mane in Liverpool in those 2 matches, what would the results have been?
Mm.
I mean, based on the way that we've played, it
Oh
would
yeah, it would
probably
have been
be
a bloodbath.
4-0,
be
5-0.
probably
Was
be three
Would have been a
nil,
bloodbath.
4-0, or something ridiculous like that. Just don't
Yeah.
even think about it.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for watching. We will be
Hey,
back
we
on
forgot
Sunday.
without one of a match, Ray.
We'll be back on Sunday. You did. You said Martinelli. So say
You
good
can put
night.
your banner up.
This has been a
Come on.
long one. Say good
Put
night.
your banner
The
up,
link.
Ray.
The
Make a
link is
banner.
in. The link is here if anyone wants to drop in and say hello to do that. And thanks everyone thanks to 3 of you for being here with me, and thanks everyone for being here, saying hello and leaving comments. So until Sunday, it's time to turn the chapter on January and start flipping some wins here on
No
my
cup.
birthday.
No cup competitions for the first time since 89-90.
That's a bad one to leave it on, but say good night, Tony. Say good
Good
night,
night,
Stan.
Tony.
Say
Good night,
Gar.
Stan. Good night, Gary.
All right, see ya, everybody.
This is to the one.